Hey all, J-Man here. I just want to tell you about beardedshirts.com. It's a great place to get a lot of cool superhero shirts and other merchandise. You can scroll, they've always got sales on. As you can see, they've got these really cool print all over shirts, which I really love. That's Eddie, the founder of the site. And if you're looking for stuff, all you got to do is you click on the search here and you can type in all over. And that's going to show you the all over prints, which are really, really cool. Look at that. You got Legion of Superheroes, you got Brave and the Bold, you got JSA, you got Superman, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, all kinds of stuff. So check out beardedshirts.com. Hello, Legionnaires. Welcome to a special live stream today. We're going to be talking about Squadron Supreme, the first half of the 12-part series, 6 issues. And oh my God, they're amazing. So I've got a couple of special guests. One is already waiting backstage. We're going to talk about it in just a second. I got a lot going on this week. Oh my God. All right. So first off, the Legion live stream is this Monday. That's the flagship. I already read these. I just finished reading them. Dawnstar is awesome. First appearance. I've got that. I've got all 3 of these issues actually, so that's going to be exciting. Tuesday, we're closing in on Dazzler. There's only 40 issues of Dazzler, so we're doing issues 29 through to 32. So that'll be Scotty and me doing it on Tuesday. And then this week, SummerSlam is on right now. So if you're here watching, thank you so much. And if you're not watching SummerSlam, I'm not watching it right now, obviously, so I'm going to have to catch it later. So I am going to stream about it this week sometime. Wednesday, I'm going to be on the Action Elite Live, and we're going to be talking about the friggin' awesome movie, The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, which I just watched for lunch today, and it's absolutely awesome. I can't friggin' wait to talk about this epic movie on Wednesday on my friend Owen's channel, The Action Elite. The link is in the description. Thursday, Sean and I are going to complete the Transformers Legacy, the art of the Transformers packaging. We're going to finish this book. We did the first half. We're going to finish the second half of this book. It's going to be a lot of fun. And Friday is Fantastic Fridays. Of course, 4 more issues of Fantastic Four. We've got Ronan the Accuser. We got Psycho Man. And we got someone in a cocoon. Who could that be? I have no idea who that is. I literally have no idea who that is. I bet you it's someone. It's probably a witch or something like that, or maybe a male version of a witch. I don't know. And we are going to do Headmasters eventually. But 1 week from today, we're going to do Squadron Supreme, the next 6. So part 1 is this Saturday. Part 2 is next Saturday. And then Headmasters. We haven't forgot about you, Headmasters. We are going to do that at some point in the next couple weeks or so. All right, let's thank the members here. So let's thank you to the Legionnaires. These are the channel members. Dan, Sean, Steven, and Brennan, who you've seen on many of my streams. Mark D with a C, everybody knows Mark D. RR, who's backstage with me today. So he'll be on today talking about Squadron Supreme. Philip Story, SVon82, that's Scotty. Scotty's going to be joining me on Tuesday to talk Dazzler. And Digger Jim, who just joined not too long ago. So thank you to all the Legionnaires. And of course, our legendary, lifelong Legionnaire, our good friend, Clobberin Times, Mike Alonzo. We're going to thank you, buddy, on you're a permanent Legionnaire, so we're going to thank you, of course, on every stream that we do. Now, this one, I never got a chance to talk to Clobby about Squadron Supreme. I'm going to go ahead and say he probably really liked it. I have a good handle on what he likes and what he doesn't like, and I'm pretty sure he'd like this one. It's an interesting take on your Justice League characters, the Marvel version. I don't really know anything. I knew nothing about the Squadron Supreme except I really like Nighthawk, who was in the Defenders. I love Nighthawk actually. I think there's only 2 action figures of Nighthawk, and I got both of them. But I do have my Squadron Supreme comics right here, which I'm going to show you just in a second here. So Classic Comics is going to join us. He's running a little bit late, so he'll come in afterwards. But we want to get going, so I want to bring in our Legionnaire. We're going to call him RRTNZ. How's it going, dude?
Oh, hello. How are you? I'll just show you to prove that I'm not like just a fake voice on the internet. Oh wait, that's not me. That's me. Hello. Yeah, hello, Legionnaires and everyone. I'm very excited. Got
Oh my
my
God.
trade paperback, Squadron Supreme. And now I'll stop terrifying you with my hideous face.
Oh my gosh.
All right, there we go. Yeah, thanks for having me on, J-Man. It is great to be able to talk about. This is probably the underappreciated, forgotten masterpiece of mid-'80s comics.
It's a masterpiece, all right, I'll tell you that.
So much to say about it.
Yeah. And we're gonna get going in a second. I want to show the book. So what happened was I think it was you. Ravenscroft was also talking about it as well. And I'm not sure. The problem is that you know how it is in chat. Like you're doing the stream and it's hard to say, oh, Classic Comics is here. Let's bring him in. Perfect timing. Boom. How's it going, dude?
Hey, Classic Comics.
Hey, guys.
Hey, just in time. Perfect timing.
Yeah, apologize for being late. I got held up.
That's okay. No worries. I was just going to say, so I'm not exactly sure who mentioned it first, how it went. And my lighting is a bit weird. I just noticed the lighting's like super weird here, but I just want to show my comments and then I'll go to my avatar comics. But somebody had mentioned it. I think it was RR who first mentioned it to me, and then Ravenscroft mentioned it, and Classic. I know you wanted to come in, but I read 3 issues, immediately went to eBay, ordered the entire damn. I'm like, okay, I need this like right now. Ordered the entire thing. So let's take a look at. I'm just gonna show you the 6 that I got. I'll make myself full screen. Hold on a second. There's issue 1.
Oh, glorious!
Pretty.
Glorious.
The condition on these is really good too. I got it from a Canadian seller. This is a thicker one. Yeah, this is a thicker one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Number 2.
You should almost do a catwalk with these. J-Mad's modeling Squadron Supreme, number 4.
Number 3. Do the prices right?
Yeah.
Number 3, and then
what's behind door number 1, J-Man?
Number 4. Why? Why is this happening? Why? I don't know why. Why is this happening? Number 5. Number 6. Who are these weird guys back here? I don't know. So that's what we're covering today. I'll save the rest for next time. Okay, let's get me out of my full frame, and I'll go to my avatar here. Alrighty. So let's present. Let me add the screen here. Share screen. Squadron Supreme. Oh, hold on. Let me put up my ad blocker first. Sorry. It's going to be a bar for a second here. Squadron Supreme. Here we go.
Man walks into a bar and says, "Ow," because it was an iron bar.
Oh, I like that. Iron Bar. That's the name of the guy in Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. Let's say hello to people who are in the chat. Joe Dog was here first. How's it going, Joe Dog? Thanks for coming on. Skeptic, you gave us the countdown. Thank you. I appreciate that. You have confirmed that you can count down from 5, so that's good to know. Legionnaire Brennan, what's going on, dude? Thanks for coming in. You got to read this one, dude. This is a good one for you to read. Philip, how's it going? I know you guys are all checking out my stuff. I'm halfway done season 3 of Enterprise, so that's how far ahead I am on Enterprise. And I know you guys are watching, and I think I'm on season 2. I don't know what I've posted. It's like the first little bit of season 2. Who else? Anybody else? Did we miss anybody? Did you guys see the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare?
Yeah, it was all right. I quite enjoyed it.
I thought it was friggin' awesome. First of all, I'm immediately getting that beard. I'm doing the Henry Cavill beard. Like I saw that, I was like, I need to have that beard and mustache immediately. And Classic Comics is in chat as well. So there you go.
It's probably the closest Henry Cavill will ever get to playing James Bond.
Yes, well, and he did do. He was in The Man from U.N.C.L.E., the movie version of the TV show. So that was pretty good.
He pretty much played Bond in that.
Yeah. Well, I really liked that gentleman ungentlemanly warfare. That was a lot of fun. And then they had Jack Reacher in there, our Canadian buddy, who was like a brick wall basically walking around. It's pretty crazy. So before we go through right into it, I discovered that. Well, I knew about Squadron Supreme because of Nighthawk, and I knew these characters. Like I know. I've seen Hyperion before. Like I've seen that. I've seen him in toys and like posters and pictures and stuff like that. And then Whizzer, you're gonna have to help me out on some of the. I don't know these characters well enough. I've only read this week or whatever. So Whizzer, I know him. He was Wanda. Was he Quicksilver's dad at some point before they changed it around, or?
I think it's a different Wizard from a different. It's the whole Marvel multiverse thing back in the day. Was Wizard an invader?
No, he was a member of the All Winners Squad as well.
All Winners,
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So then I don't know that character, and I mean basically everybody is a Justice League.
Yeah.
Take,
you
right?
You could almost call them by their Justice League names. You got Hawkman, Superman, Wonder Woman, the Atom, Zatanna, Green Arrow, Aquaman, Flash, Black Canary, Firestorm, and Green Lantern.
Yep. Yeah, so we've got Blue. Is it Blue? Blue Hawk, is that him? No. Blue Eagle.
Blue Eagle, I think is.
Blue Eagle, Hyperion, Power Princess. I'm trying to do it off memory.
That's the one.
Tom Thumb. We've got Dr. Spectrum. We've got Lady Lark. We've got Nuke, Wizard, Golden, Archer, Amphibian. Yes. And did I miss anybody?
Arcana.
Yeah. So she's Zatanna, right?
She's the one that sleeps in the buff. Just for those of you that are read ahead.
And Nighthawk, I knew. So Nighthawk's the only character I knew. I like him from Defenders.
Batman.
Which one's Tony? No Tony on here. Okay, so how did you guys? So I guess I'll let you go first. How did you first come across this, this series?
Well, it's the stroll down memory lane to 1985. I was in a comic shop. Someone said to me, "Hey, look at this." So I did, and I picked it up at a time. I think I was 15, and I enjoyed it. It went over my head. Just how deep an exploration of moral philosophy the story was. Like the depth of the story evaded me. And I think that was Grunwald's intention, that on the surface, it's just another superhero story, but it's not at all. And I wasn't a big fan of the JLA at the time. So, at the time it went over my head until I got to issue 12. And then, which, we won't spoil it for anyone, but issue 12 is quite a thing. And I really went back and looked at it, and I've gone back to it a number of times over the years, and every time I get a lot more out of it, and I realize just what a great storyteller Grunwald was. I mean, I liked his stuff on Captain America. That was something Clobby mentioned a few times. Was how great his work on Captain America was. But gosh, coming back to this again and again over the years, it just gets better every time. So that's my story.
Cool. I've not read past issue 6, so no spoilers for me.
Have you not? Oh well, I'm gonna have to really bite my tongue. I also sent J-Man the follow-up. There's a follow-up called Death of a Universe, which takes place 1 week later after issue 12. Which I got quite misty-eyed reading it. Yeah. But anyway,
I will read that.
Comics.
Yeah, classic. So how did you come across this one?
Well, I mean, I saw advertisements for it, in Marvel Comics, because I was a fan of Squadron Supreme actually kind of before this, because when I first started really getting into Marvel, Avengers was one of the first books I read. And one of the first Avengers stories I read actually was a story where they fight the Squadron Supreme. I believe it's their second appearance.
Okay.
And so I was already pretty familiar with them and a fan of them. And so I've always been a fan ever since of these characters. And was excited, when I saw, oh, wow, these guys are finally getting their own book. And as we've kind of already said in our discussions that this is a book that I think the storytelling was groundbreaking and really kind of ahead of its time in a lot of ways. And it really kind of is the precursor to a lot of stuff that we've gotten over the intervening decades, particularly stories that tend to pit the heroes against each other rather than fighting villains, like Civil War, Avengers versus X-Men, Kingdom Come, and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just reading the first 6, like I would put this up there as some of the best stuff. I just had to have it. Like, I mean, as soon as I finish, I'll tell you why when we get to the end of issue 3, why that was the one that pulled. That I was like, oh, I got to pull the trigger and just get all these, and I don't care. I'm like that. Like, I'll get into something that I'm like, I don't care. I need to have it, and that's yeah. I did that with Legion. I did. I mean, with Doctor Who, I started Doctor Who with watching a couple of David Tennant episodes. And then I was like, well, this is great. And then I watched some Matt Smith stuff. I was like, well, this is fantastic. I was like, well, that's it. I need to own it all. And I'm like, I can't start. People were saying, yeah, start with, with Eccleston. I was like, nah, that's not how I play. I'm like, I need the entire thing. I need all of it. So I literally bought everything. I own every Doctor Who thing there ever was, from William Hartnell till even including the trashy Jodie Whittaker stuff. I have that even. So it's like, I was like, so as soon as I read issue 3, I was like, that's it. Must own this entire series. I don't care. It's like, I will get it in whatever form I can.
He's a completionist.
I'm a completionist. Yes. This is, yeah. Okay. Racer X. Great point.
I gotta disagree with that. Yep. I have to disagree with that comment. The original version of The Boys is a series from 1987 called Martial Law by Pat Mills.
I know Martial Law. My friend collected it.
Yeah.
I'm not the Sean but a different Sean. Yep.
Martial Law did everything The Boys did, just twice as cleverly, right? So I'm sorry, Racer X. I must disagree with you, my friend. This is what Injustice was kind of modeled on in sort of in a finger painting way. I met Tom Taylor. He's a really nice guy for an Australian. But yeah, this is Injustice is the finger painting version of this story.
Okay. Okay, so I collected Captain America. So I knew Mark Greenwald from Captain America. That's when I was collecting Captain America, like ages ago. So this is written by Mark Greenwald. Penciler is Bob Hall. Inker is John Beatty. Is that how you say it? And Janice Chang is the letterer. Christy Scheel, colorist. Ralph Macchio is the editor, and Jim Shooter is editor-in-chief. So we know Jim Shooter. And Ralph Macchio, not the Karate Kid, but Ralph Macchio is actually appearing in a Dazzler comic I'm reviewing on Tuesday. They actually had him in the comic, which is weird. Breaking the fourth wall there a little bit. All right, so got Hyperion here right away, saving this was this a satellite or something that's crashing down. It's their headquarters, I guess.
It's their watchtower.
Yeah, it's their watchtower. So it's like their former headquarters. So you can see his strength right away. So this is the first time I'm encountering any of these characters. So I literally do not know. Like, I'm just discovering them. So you could kind of tell. I mean, based on the cover, you can try to start to piece together who's who, right? Based on Justice League. Like, I know they're a take on the Justice League, so I could kind of figure it out that way. So I was like, okay, this guy's the Superman kind of guy. Here's your kind of Aquaman guy, Amphibian. Here's your Green Lantern kind of guy who's Dr. Spectrum, and he's got some cubes or something that like can
Power Prism.
Power Prism. Okay, yeah. You'll have to correct me this entire way. It's just like I've read it once, and I've also read 400 comics since then.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got to say, classic especially, as this issue is a massive exposition dump, but is a masterfully done one. It's a very skillful exposition dump.
Yeah.
We learn so much about the world and even the Squadron's home lives we learn about. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I think it's a great example of a comic that is pretty wordy, and like you say, a lot of exposition. It's mostly just people standing around talking, but it's just done so well, and so much information is conveyed, useful information, that it's just I think it's a page turner to me.
Oh, just this is not a spoiler, but it's something that's looked for in the book. All the heavy lifting in terms of, I mean, this book is an exploration of moral philosophy that no real superhero book had done before, and all the heavy lifting is done
Yeah.
in meetings. Almost every issue there is a meeting, and you really have to pay attention to what everybody says at the meeting, because
Yeah.
Grunwald is throwing all these different perspectives at you and saying to you, reader, you decide what is correct. The meetings are really like you say, classic, standing around talking, but the meetings are where the real heavy lifting and thinking is done.
And the thing is, when they're talking, I mean, these people are having disagreements,
Yeah,
philosophical moral disagreements, and yet what you see in this book is something that it's one of the main things I find really lacking in modern comics. It's their
utterly.
it's a bunch of adults who behave like adults and who respect one another and respect other positions and are willing, it's just they're willing to hear other ideas as opposed to most comics now where everybody sounds like some kind of a snarky teenager and they basically, if you don't have my view, then you're a bad guy, period, and that's all there is to it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I didn't find any of these issues boring at all. I was, and you know what's funny, because so coming at this out, and I still read new comics and all that stuff, and you get into this, and I got into this so easily that like I was just shocked. And it's funny too, because if you continuously read a lot of kind of newer comics that are just kind of being made to be made just to retain like your IP rights or whatever, and then you read this, you're just like, holy crap, this is like what it used to be about, like telling like an amazing story. And even though there's exposition, I actually found all this really interesting. So they're doing the typical, like this first issue we can go through pretty quickly. It's like they're doing the typical stuff, like, okay, superheroes business. And I can't remember if it was this issue where you get the sense that the previous thing, these guys were controlled by a bad guy.
Yeah, it's in this issue.
It's in this issue. So
Yeah.
the backstory, we don't see this in the comic. So for people listening, you don't see this in the comic, but it's established that, is it Overmind? What was the guy's name?
Yeah,
Overmind.
the Overmind.
Yeah.
He had controlled these guys and he was making them do bad guy stuff. So it's typical comic stuff. There's a villain, Overmind. He controlled the heroes. Nighthawk, who's Kyle Richmond, who's the only guy I knew. He was, I guess, the president of the United States.
And just to say, by the way,
Yeah.
you do realize this Kyle Richmond is not the same Kyle Richmond that was in the Defenders.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah,
No,
that's a different guy. So that was the Kyle Richmond in the Defenders was originally in the Squadron Sinister.
Oh, I did not know that.
Which is a different group. And that was on the main Marvel Earth. I guess they call it 616 now, right? And this Kyle Richmond is from this Earth. And that's a different Kyle Richmond.
Okay. I wasn't sure about that. See, I did not know that. Even so, but he looks like similar, right? Like but yeah, we haven't seen him much in these 6 issues, actually. After the disagreement, he kind of takes off for a bit.
Yeah, he's an identical person. In fact, in the Defenders story that precedes this, there actually was one of the big plot twists is where you find out that the 2 Kyle Richmonds are not who you thought they were. They're actually they're the opposite of who you thought they were.
Oh,
and
okay.
and the Kyle Richmond from the other Kyle Richmond actually died in that story. Now, of course, it's comics, so eventually he came back. But
Right.
God, look at that artwork too. The simple panel storytelling, but we were talking about. Yeah, we're talking about Kirby's genius executing action yesterday, but look at that, and look at the emotion that conveys. You can see Luke's rage.
Yeah,
this is comics the Marvel way, right here.
Right. Yeah, so it's all your kind of superhero stuff. You're introduced to everybody. There's your Tom Thumb. Now it's important to note they all have masks. You could see she's got her helmet on. Nuke's got his thing here. Now Hyperion is the Superman guy, so he doesn't really have a mask. But we had the Hawk or the Eagle guy, who's going to be Blue Eagle later. I can't remember what he's called right now. Captain Hawk. Okay, changes his name, right?
Does he become American Eagle at some point, or was that his father?
That was his father.
Yeah, Yeah, they call him Blue Eagle here, but you can see everyone has masks, which will be important later.
And actually, I think I may be wrong, but I think when the Squadron Supreme made their first appearance, I believe he was calling himself American Eagle, and then
Possibly.
in his second appearance, he changed it to Captain Hawk. So
Okay. And then later in this, yeah. So I don't know what issue it is again, but he'll change his name again.
yeah,
It's a Blue Eagle.
Blue Eagle, yeah. All right, so again, it's standard stuff, but it's still awesomely done. Anyways, the art is good. You're introduced to your characters. It doesn't feel like it actually feels kind of exciting because you're like, "Ooh, what's going to happen?"
It's basic stuff, but you notice they name each character. You know, each character gets named, addressed by their name, so you know their name, and you see them do something, display their ability, so you know what they can do,
right.
and everybody gets an opportunity to do something and contribute.
Yeah, so it's a large team, but it doesn't feel like anyone is shafted.
Yeah.
Well, you say that, but what's interesting is what comes out through the story is how Tom Thumb quite often feels ignored, not listened to. And there's, especially you watch the opening of issue 2 when they confront the militia, just how they react to Tom Thumb. But Tom Thumb really is the MVP of this whole story.
Yeah.
He is. And yes, so the way that they've set this up is that you're like, okay, it's this great thing. They're this Justice League kind of characters. Everything's good. But then as you say, the meetings, here it's all like, okay, yeah, cool. They're kicking the crap out of people, saving stuff. And then it's like, okay, we have a meeting now. And now already you're starting to see, okay, something's off because I think they're like, here's the backstory. Sorry. Here's the backstory I just referred to earlier with Overmind. So they're just, was this in a comic or was this just like this didn't happen in a comic, right?
This was kind of given as backstory in the Defenders. There's a 2-part Defenders story before this, and that's kind of like the backstory. It was given kind of the same way it is here, as a flashback, basically. Because what happened was, as you see, down at the bottom with Hyperion. So he took over the squadron, but Hyperion was able to resist him and escape.
Okay.
And subsequently, he went to the Marvel Earth, and he tried to get the Avengers to come back and help him defeat the Overmind. But the Avengers were in space or something. They weren't available, and he wound up turning to the Defenders, and they wound up helping.
Okay, so that's, yes. So I'm not sure if I have those Defenders issues because I actually have quite a bunch of Defenders issues. But okay, so they're back and they're good guys. So that was your flashback, and then we get to where we're at now. And I think this is it in this issue already where they decide to save, quote unquote, save the world from itself or whatever?
You're about to, they do. You're about to get, because as I say, when I read this as a 15-year-old, it went over my head. But Hyperion is about to say, with great power comes great responsibility in about 2 pages time, but he's about to flip that on its complete head to how we understand it in the Marvel Universe with how Spider-Man applies it. He's about to say those words, but he's about to turn them a completely different direction.
Yep. Okay. So again, we get a little bit of an origin with your Power Princess, which is sort of your kind of Wonder Woman-ish type person. You've got your Hyperion type person. There's your Batman guy.
Yeah, there it is. With great powers, such as ours, come great responsibilities. But we've never fully faced up to that fact. And he means a completely different thing than Spider-Man.
Yeah, so he's saying with great powers, such as ours, comes equally great responsibilities. So, Ravenscroft is here. How's it going?
Well,
Ravenscroft.
I would actually disagree that it's a completely different thing. That's kind of the whole point of it. I think is he's just taking it out to a logical conclusion. He's just taking it a step further or a few steps further.
Yeah, I suppose that's fair.
That's the whole sort of slippery slope of it. is that, you know, because at first blush you say, well, of course you would do as much as you can to help. Why wouldn't you? You know.
Yeah, but like some of the best Superman stories are about when Superman shouldn't use his powers, right? Some of the best Superman, Kingdom Come is all about that. When does Superman say no? I don't do anymore. I stop here. I don't do anymore. And this brilliant book here takes that, you know, beyond there. Well, this is beyond where we should have stopped, and we go as far as we can. And oh, it's brilliant.
And we're getting to it right here with
This is it.
Nighthawk's little speech. Yeah, I'll let
Yes.
you do that first, but this is kind of the really moral crux of the whole series right here.
Well, basically, Hyperion wants to quote unquote save the world from itself and everyone. This is sort of like, for the chat, it's like Superman 4. Like, I'm going to rid the world of all nuclear weapons and I'm going to do all this. And it's like, but it's taking it a step further. It's basically like we've got a 1-year plan to make the world safe from all criminals and violence and war and everything. And we've got the powers to do it. We're going to disarm everyone. We're going to, you know, whatever, like everything you can do. If there's criminals, we're going to Clockwork Orange the criminals. We're going to like,
yeah, we're going to eliminate crime. We're going to eliminate poverty. We're going to eliminate hunger. We're going to eliminate disease. And as he says, maybe even eliminate death, you know.
right.
That's how ambitious this kid's.
Even death itself, it says, right? Even cure death itself. So the thing is that the way that, okay, so right here, I was like, oh, here we go. This is going to be good. And you can see that this is a great shot. You see this group here? It's basically like, at what point, and RR, you said this in the opening, at what point do you, the reader, think it's gone too far? And then as you're doing it, you have each character here. They'll start in the later issues that we're going to cover tonight. Each character starts to voice their sort of opinions on things. Like one character might say, you know what, I'm with you. And then maybe an issue later, they're like, I'm not really on this. You know, I'm not on board with this part of it, right? Like some people condone some parts and some people don't condone other parts. And some people are all in, right? They're like, yeah, I'm in
Like
with you,
real
Hyperion.
people.
I'm, you know,
Like
Nighthawk's
real
the
people
first. Like real people would. Exactly.
Yeah, that's the genius of it. Like real people would.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. They leave it up to you to decide. So right away, the Batman character. So Nighthawk says, okay, guys, I can't, like, this is already like this guy's already out. Nothing. He says they haven't even done anything just by Hyperion saying what he's wants to do. He's like, I'm not sure if that's really up to us to do all of this stuff. So right away, Nighthawk's kind of out.
I'd like to throw in there though, boys.
Yep.
Nighthawk is saying this because he, under the Overmind's control, has been the key instrument in subjugating the world. He carries tremendous guilt. So yeah, he is saying this from a moral philosophy point of view, but you have to think that's colored by his guilt, that he feels personally responsible for the mess the world is in right now. And that's why he wants to be part of fixing it, but not like this. He can't see himself becoming part of another totalitarian, swapping one totalitarian regime for another.
Right.
It's his guilt that's driving it. Mm-hmm. Sorry, Classic, go ahead.
No, that's good. And, you know, and of course the Squadron, they're just kind of not seeing this because, again, they want to, quote, do good, you know. But, and I think he says it on the next page, but Nighthawk makes the point. In order to institute the changes you want to make, you're going to have to take complete control of the world, complete control of society, every facet of it, and basically make the public go along with it. And as he says, at the end of the day, how different is that from the Overmind? At the end of the day, you've got the same thing. You've got these people at the top who are making all these decisions and forcing the people on the ground beneath them to go along with it, and they have no choice, whether they like it or not.
Yeah, so just to remind the chat, I mentioned this, but I'm not sure if people forgot. So this is the character Nighthawk here, the guy right here. I'll use this character here, the Batman guy. He was the president of the United States, and he was also brainwashed. So because he was the leader of the most powerful country, whatever, he took on a lot of he did a lot of bad stuff. So he's the face man of it. Like everyone's like, oh yeah, the president was a piece of garbage and and he was evil. So it's like it kind of all fell to him, even though he was the face of it all, right? So it just looks really bad for him, and he's come to this realization that you just want what the Overmind wants, but you're trying to be nice about it. Now, here's what I thought was really good. So what I thought was good was the fact that Hyperion doesn't just beat him up or something. He's like, okay, look, that's cool, man. We're friends. I'd love to have you on board. If you don't want to be on board, you're good. And that's it. And there isn't really right now, at least. I know there's going to be something because, I kind of know how stories are going to work, right? But right now, and at least for the first 6 issues, they're not going to target this guy and be like, okay, well, you know what? You effed up, buddy. You should have been with us. It's not like you're with us, you're against us. It's just like, okay, no problem. That's fine. You don't want to be a part of it. That's okay. Okay, so they all fly off here.
And I also want to make the point also, Amphibian also does not support this either.
Yes, but he stays. I think he decides to stay for now, I think. Where is it? He says it somewhere.
Well, they resolve issues by majority vote. Yeah. They resolve issues by majority vote because they're adults, right? They're not like the idiots we have in comics today. So they majority vote. Nighthawk walks away. That's fine. Amphibian says, "Okay, I'll bow to the will of the majority." I think because at this point you can still see more good than harm. But God, man, J-Man, you haven't read past issue 6. Oh God, get your tissues ready.
Yeah, no, I am. Because I didn't want to get ahead of myself. It's already because it's like I've read these 6 issues. I've read the 3. I've read the 4 things. I read the 4 Dazzlers, the 3 Legions, plus the Dread magazine that I got, and I had to read the 4 Fantastic Fours for last night's stream. So I was like, if I start reading more of these, I'm going to start to lose where I am. So I was like, let me take a break from it, and then I'll continue. It actually ends at a good spot to take a break on because it looks like Nighthawk's about to, kind of do something, and then that's you're like, oh, that's a good spot to break on. And there's pushback. This is one thing I hate in modern anything, so TV, movies, where there's no pushback with characters. Like there's a great example with I think it was season 3 of the Orville where it just went downhill. It was just a terrible season, but a bunch of characters were saying something and no one pushed back, and you thought, what, everyone on the ship agrees with this? Like there's no one on this ship that thinks this is wrong. Like I hate that. And it's usually done by poor writing in order to enforce the point the writer wants. So for example, let's say if we were doing it in this comic, you'd just say, yeah, we're going to change the world. Okay. And then everyone's on board and no one says anything. You're like, okay, I guess Mark thinks that this is the right thing to do. Right. But like the point is that there's doubt. Like one guy's kind of doubting, but he bends to the will of the majority. One guy's like, look, I can't be a part of this. This doesn't seem right. And he's out. And as we go, you can almost take that picture I showed you in the beginning with all the guys, like you could take this and you can start Xing them out. It's like, okay, this guy's out. All right, this guy's out.
literally in some cases.
You have no idea.
Yeah.
You have no idea.
Hey, Fan About Snyder.
On that note, what's brilliant about Mark's storytelling is, as you say, J-Man, they go along for different reasons. Some of them really believe in what, like Power Princess, 100% behind it.
Yeah.
Right? That's her approach. We did it with our nation. We can do it with yours. Hyperion, I don't want to spoil anything, but yeah, is because he's kind of perfect, because he is Superman.
Right.
He doesn't see that other people don't have the weaknesses or other people have weaknesses that he doesn't in terms of character. But other characters go along just because they're loyal to the group. I mean, there's a bunch of them there that are only going along because, well, I think everyone else is doing the right thing. Dr. Spectrum is one of the really most interesting where his morals lie.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Why is he going along with it? I mean, Whizzer just wants to protect his family, right?
Right.
Sees a better future for them. Yeah, but like Dr. Spectrum there, he's organizing hookup. Yeah, when you've got, there's a Me Too moment in issue 3, right? That
Oh
shows
yes, yes, yes. There is.
the
There is
difference between 1985 and 2025.
Oh
yes,
yes.
I hope
and
we get
we'll discuss that.
Yeah.
They decide to. I'm going through this a little bit quickly because we still have a bunch of issues.
J-Man, I'm going to step away for just a second. I'll be right
Yeah, no worries. Cool. So basically, they've decided to go public with their identities, though, because they don't want to start. Like, again, it all sounds good. Like, they're like, look, we don't want to lie to people anymore. We want to come clean and give up our identities. This is a nice moment because obviously, because Power Princess is basically Wonder Woman, she's not really aging. And this is, you can assume this is your Steve Trevor kind of clone.
Yeah.
And she's married to him and he's old now, and but she still loves him, which is cool. I'll just go through I mean, it's all the stuff that you think, like Amphibians here talking to the fishies and stuff, and
this whole sequence, it does a really good job, I think, of sort of humanizing these characters, because before this series, they had been really kind of two-dimensional and
right.
kind of cartoonish, because they were mainly just guest stars. They appeared in a couple of Avengers stories and then in a Defenders story where they were the antagonists, and you never really saw their personal lives or anything like that. And this is really the first time you're seeing all that. Gruenwald created most of this, for these characters. Of course, he's riffing off of the DC characters to an extent.
Right. Yeah, like Black Canary and Green Arrow versus Lady Larkin, Golden Archer, like they're kind of together. Nuke comes down, sees his parents. We come to, I mean, this we knew this was going to happen. Come to find out that his nuclear energy powers have affected his parents, and they're dying because of exposure to him. So that's going to cause him, he'll be totally fine. Nothing will happen with him at all. He'll just walk that off and he'll be completely okay. Everything will be fine. It's fine. It's fine.
He's their youngest member too, Nuke. I think he's like 19 or 20. He's like
okay. Yeah. Well, he won't get upset, and there won't be any fighting or anything like that. It'll be fine. So you get to see this is the Zatanna Arcana Zatanna character with her little family here, and Salem, her little Salem cat.
And Gruenwald does a great job of giving them distinct personalities and character. It's Ledger. Dr. Spectrum's kind of a swinging bachelor. Wizard's kind of more of the kind of reserved family man. And Arcana's got her and her family have an odd setup, to say the least.
Right. And I'll mention this with Skeptic too. My problem with The Boys, even though I am somewhat enjoying it, is that there's not any nuance to any of it. Like, it's just like everyone's just a complete piece of garbage, and you're like,
yep.
I mean, on the villain side, I'm saying, like, there's some, like Butcher's kind of an interesting character. He's really the only character that has any sort of like interesting things to think about, and like the good guys are okay, but like all of the soups or whatever they say, they're all stinking pieces of garbage. Like, wasn't there ever anyone who was like somewhat trying to, be a hero? Like, I guess A-Train, they're trying to introduce stuff now, but anyway, I like this. Phantom Outsider, Ideological Divide, yes. Anyway, there's a lot going on. Okay, so we're getting to we're getting close here. There's Tom Thumb, who we're going to learn a lot about. He feels inferior and all of that stuff. We'll learn about that a bit more. He's your like tech guy.
He is the MVP of at least the first half of the series, and at least the first 2/3 of it anyway. Yeah, he's the MVP.
We got Nighthawk coming home. So he was I guess he still technically is the president because he hasn't stepped down. He will though. So everyone's, resign, you bastard, you're a traitor, blah, blah, blah. Calls his aide or whatever. Gets his Batman, his Hawk outfit. Here comes Hyperion. Hey, Kyle, can I come in? It's like, yeah. And here's the last kind of, you're the biggest scapegoat. I don't blame you for being bitter, right? Like gives you a little bit of what's going on, and I hope we could still be friends, kind of a thing. And this is great here, though. This is great where he kind of turns away and he wants to like kind of put his hand to be like, look, man, are we okay? And he just says, forget it. Like it's like there's no. So he feels bad and kind of flies off. So Kyle's kind of like he's determined to stop them, and he'll do whatever he has to do to stop Hyperion, including getting now it's not kryptonite, it's called argonite. I mean, whatever, it's kryptonite, right? Like you guys know what it is. Now I think does he say that the squadron forgot he had this or what or something like that? I think so. They say it here somewhere.
Yeah, that because early on the squadron was using his mansion as their headquarters, kind of like the Avengers use Avengers Mansion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they had that argonite there because Tom Thumb was trying to find a way to find a cure, to find a way to sort of inoculate Hyperion so that it wouldn't affect them, but he never did.
Right. So Kyle he's made a bullet out of it. He wants to shoot Hyperion, and he shoots him, and the comic's over. It's weird. It's just one issue. I thought it was 12, but no.
Well done, Mark Grunwald. Great.
You did great, buddy.
Well done. Good stuff.
No, he doesn't kill him because, I mean, come on. But you know what this is what I liked about this is that he's just like, I can't go through with it. You got to think they've been, you have to assume that if this is sort of your Justice League, it would be very difficult for Batman to actually pull the trigger on Superman if you really thought about it, right? Like, he's just like, I can't, there's got to be a better way. I'm not going to just like shoot this guy right here. Like it was awesome. I like that. Oh, Nighthawk. Yeah, I agree, man. Nighthawk is awesome in this. He is awesome. And then they all unmask. There you go. So now you can get A actors to play them all. They can all unmask in the first 20 minutes of the movie, and then they can be unmasked. since these actors don't like to wear masks anyways.
I remember after the Justice League movie came out, the first one.
Yeah.
I remember thinking distinctly, we're probably just going to have to wait for the MCU to do Squadron Supreme before we get a really good Justice League movie.
I'm surprised. Well, I'm not surprised because nobody cares, but I'm surprised they haven't done something with this, an animated or some kind of thing. Like, it seems like this is such an easy one, and you could just literally copy. I mean, you actually have the script. Just take the 12 issues. You need someone to do like a Watchmen, like almost like a copy paste.
I'd love that
version.
But there's such obscure characters, that I doubt that Marvel Studios, the people who run it, even know these characters exist.
No, they don't even know how to do the characters that they do know exist. Never mind the ones that they don't know. They don't know how to. Yeah, they don't know how to work with the characters they do know exist. Never mind the ones they don't know.
I mean, I saw the animated adaptation of Superman Red Sun, which was written by Mark Millar, and
I haven't watched it yet.
Oh, it's a great Superman story, the comic.
Yep, I have it.
But they get some things in the animation fundamentally wrong. Like they get some things that Mark Millar was trying to say, they get wrong. I won't say what, but right. And it kind of undoes all the cleverness of the comic, because it was a clever comic. It was a really smart take on Superman, and I just don't think that modern. I mean, we've talked about Batman: The Caped Crusader, and won't go there. But I'm not convinced that modern creatives, any of them, have the ability to do justice to classic material without trying to twist it to suit a sensibility that they perceive as relevant but really isn't.
Oh yeah, they're never gonna. Yeah, because they have to tamper with it in some way to try to like justify that they're doing it, and then that's where you get these weird takes. It's like, let's make Penguin a woman, but there's already 400 Batman female villains, so it's not about representation. Like you've got tons of female villains. I don't understand. Anyway, This is so now. Okay, so issue 2. This is where I now start to see that we've already got a problem, because this is the first instance where Hyperion, they show it on the cover. It's like, so you get the sense that this Scarlet Centurion super villain guy, you get the sense that, oh, he's been one of the recurring villains, and they always beat, they beat him up and then they transport him back to time or what, whatever. And then at one point, and they show it on the cover here, where Hyperion's like, look, we have an important mission. We're trying to save the world. If you mess with us, I'm just going to kill you. I'm not going to send you back. We're not going to play this back and forth crap. I'll send you back and then you come back. And he's just like, I'm going to kill you. So are you sure you want to proceed with your little plan or whatever? The guy's like, okay. And you're just like, oh shit. Imagine if Superman said that. It's like, listen, Parasite, it's been fun and games now, but if you show your face around here again, I'm going to literally incinerate you. It's like, okay. So here's your Green Lantern character, Spectrum. Now, what are they doing here? They're picking up all of
it's a food drop.
Food drop, that's right.
Food drop, because and one of the things they talk about in the meeting, which I really loved, is Grunwald's sense of detail. Is that the meeting that's coming up? They talk about how much of the national power grid's been restored, how much of food production's been there. See the panel with Tom Thumb?
Yeah.
Those 2 panels. There's a lot in those 2 panels.
Oh yes, yeah. So let's talk about that. Hold on a second. So so just so people know what's going on. So they dropped up a bunch of food, and then the mayor's like, "Oh, I'd love to talk to you guys," and and then they literally call him Thumbelina, so that's obviously wrong. So they don't, like, the generic people don't even know. So he's like, "Oh, why don't you say something to the people?" So each guy talks. So Spectrum and Golden Archer talk, and they literally pass. He literally says his crap, and they pass it over Tom and hand it back to the mayor and literally just ignore him. And he's like, okay. And you get the sense that, okay, Tom is not, he's literally and figuratively looked down upon, I guess.
And what happens next? So these militia goons attack them.
Yeah.
And they don't threaten Tom.
Right.
They don't. They threaten Spectrum and Archer, but they don't threaten Tom. They ignore him as well. It's crazy. But
drop your.
Well, sorry, go ahead, Jay, man.
No, go on. No, I'm just explaining what's going on the panel.
Yeah, but as I keep saying, Tom Thumb, as you read on, is the MV. At least, so from a technological standpoint, he, in terms of creating and restoring their world, he's the key, right? At the moment. Gosh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he exactly, Phantom. He is literally the brains of the group. And he, to his credit, I mean, it's a bit of a spoiler, he never gets bitter. Like some modern writer might try and twist the character so he eventually becomes a villain. But Tom, when you read his whole arc through the story, he is probably one of the most noble characters. Yeah. Do you want to say anything classic about Tom Thumb?
No, I think you covered it pretty well. I would say Ravenscroft mentions Bob Hall's art here, and he is doing a fantastic job in these early issues. Yes. Unfortunately, he doesn't carry through the whole series. If I remember right, I believe he had been on Thor, I think, before this. He was on Thor for a while in the real early 80s.
And I'll just mention too, just so it should be obvious, but we are looking at one of those collected reprint, retouched and remastered or whatever they call it, editions of this comic. This isn't the original scans, just so people know, because we've seen, you guys have seen when I do my streams, like sometimes we're looking at like an FF or that, especially Fourth World, where they colored things all weird. And it was just like, they changed the colors of stuff and nothing would match. And you're just like, what the hell? But I think this is intact. I didn't go through every page of the comic and every page of this, you know what I mean? I didn't, but I think it's pretty intact. So yeah, Tom Thumb. So the reason I loved this so much when I was reading it was that, Tom Thumb, he's just like a cool guy. Like he just wanted to do, like you said, like he really wanted to be a good guy, and people come clean and they behave like like adults and they behave like normal people. None of them behave like idiots.
Right.
And I was just stunned. And we'll get to issue 3 where that was I literally read issue 3 and I went and told my wife. I was like, okay, I got to tell you this entire story, what's going on in this comic. And then I said to her, I was like, okay, here's what happens. And then I'm like, what do you think happens after this? And then I was like, no, that doesn't happen, because, it's like, you would think something would happen, and I'll say it in issue 3, but, again, so here we go. Now we're back into superhero stuff. Okay. They're, beating up the bad guys, sort of. Are they bad guys? I guess they're bad. Like, again, you're reading this and you're like, are they the bad guys or are they the good guys here? Like, you can't tell. Like,
I don't think they are bad guys, because what are they saying? I mean, because think about what has happened here. The Squadron basically, along with the president of the U.S. government, took control of the whole freaking world. And as they mentioned here, I mean, they rounded up people and threw them in prison camps, and they created an oppressive police state. And then it all collapsed and made the whole friggin' world a wreck. And then in the wake of that, the Squadron said, oh, you know what? Sorry about how we took over the world and it all went bad, but don't worry, because now we're going to take control of the world again, but this time it's going to be great.
Right. That's actually what they are saying, which is funny.
I mean, honestly, I don't know. One of the things, as much as I love it, I do think one of the problems with the storytelling is there isn't more pushback on this from the world. I mean, I don't know why the rest of the world isn't just declaring war on America, and like the whole planet is attacking America.
Well, we do sort of see that when it comes to the Squadron's disarmament program and the disarmament tactics, like how they as the issues go on, they get pretty. I mean, this is a book that tackles gun control in 1985, when the Cold War was still on. I think one of the issues they talk about at the beginning, they talk about how the Overmind wanted to put nuclear missiles on the moon, but the Squadron gets in and does disarmament, disarms the population, and gun control is so contentious now, even more so then. It's crazy.
And Fanti, I understand that it was the Overmind who was controlling them. I understand that, but that's not what the public knows. The public doesn't know about the Overmind because they never really explained that, and he always stayed out of sight. So to the public, to the people, as far as they know, the Squadron and the president were pretty much behind the whole thing.
Yep, yeah. That's the important thing, because now it looks like they're just doing it again.
Yeah, the Squadron don't just disarm the population, they actually shut down the entire manufacture of armaments.
Yeah.
Right.
Tom Thumb comes up with some substitutes, but you'll see in a few issues the Squadron dealing with an armaments factory.
Yeah. Tom Thumb comes up with some like energy force fields and things like that. So here's the famous. This becomes a staple, right? It's like, okay, got to have the meeting.
The meeting.
Updates. What's going on? And then this gets less and less. This is like 12 Angry Men, as they keep saying not guilty. At the end, you got like Lee J. Cobb left. It's like, no, he's guilty. I don't care. Spoilers for if you haven't seen 12 Angry Men. But it's like one by one. It's like, okay. So they're talking here, and you guys talked about this earlier when we were looking at issue 1. Just the different things of the world. 75% of the food processing plants in the Northeast are back in business. We did stuff about the camps, the internment camps. 95% of all electrical and natural gas power has been restored. So just giving the updates, and these start to get more interesting as the series goes on, but they're interrupted by the Scarlet Centurion. Dun-dun-dun.
What an arsehole.
Yeah, this guy, it's like, and he's cool because he talks with this cool font. Like anytime there's like a font or like a bubble, it's like something, like Deadpool always talks in yellow or
it's like, time traveling Eva Mastermind font.
Yeah, it's like she's got like little crackles around him. Greetings, Squadron, I have returned. Clobby would do like the voice, it's like if this was like a 60s or 70s cartoon or something or whatever, it'd be like a 70s cartoon evil villain. Greetings, Squadron, I have returned. Something weird like that. Okay, so oh shit. Everyone here is like, okay, yeah, we gotta, but look, Hyperion is like not having it. Look at the face here. He is like immediately pissed. And like, look how angry he is. I will personally follow you to the end of eternity and tear you apart with my bare hands if you dare attack now. Look at the guy's face. He's like, It's like, yeah, okay, I think I'm good. I mean, I was kind of like, it's a bit scary, but I was just like, this is hilarious. It's like, yeah, that guy's done. It's like, okay, you know what? Screw this. I'm done. And later you see some other like lower ranking villains, sort of like your low ranking Batman villain characters who are like, yeah, we're leaving this planet. it's like we're leaving this dimension or something. I can't remember. I think it's later on. And they're like, yeah, the squadron's not messing around anymore. But this is your first hint that Hyperion has, like Superman would never say this, right? Like, so he's not Superman, even though he's got his powers. So he takes off. That's it for that. So this actually subverted your. There's this point to this to show that Hyperion has that darker, that he could potentially go darker. But it was subverting your expectations, but you learned about the character and it was really cool. Like you thought, oh, now there's going to be a big fight with this Scarlet Centurion and that'll be the next, 4 or 5 pages or something. And he's just like, yeah, F this, I'm out of here. And they're like, okay. Look at Spectrum. He's just like, oh yeah, all right. We're playing cards tonight, right? Okay. So he's like, yeah, we've got enough problems without dealing with these losers. Anything else? Oh yeah. So now, here's where Nuke comes to Tom.
Oh God, this is heavy.
Yeah. So this is interesting because this is a question that a lot of comic book readers would have, saying, oh, there's a character in your comic who, there's a Tony Stark or a Reed Richards, and Reed Richards is like your smartest guy ever. He can create, we just saw, on my Friday stream, Negative Zone, and you can go to the Negative Zone and it can make all these elaborate things. Well, why don't you do something and cure cancer, buddy? And you're like, okay, that's pretty shocking. I don't know what people would have thought of this back then. Like even for now, you're like, oh shit, like what's he gonna do here? So Nuke's parents are dying of cancer due to exposure to Nuke. So he's been kind of giving off like a radiation, and I guess over the years it's just kind of just like, yeah, they've just been absorbing it for all these years, right? Like, and then so Tom is like working away, and he's like, well, I need your help. Can you help cure my parents?
Well, he lives at home, Nuke. That's a point he makes. Because he's quite young, he lives at home. Tom says, you need at least 5 hours of exposure a day to get cancer from that. And Nuke's, well, I live at home. Right. So I'm at home 5 hours a day, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, and he didn't know. I guess they didn't really know. Some of them didn't know each other's identities, right? Like some knew each other and some didn't know, right? Like that's. Or like, because like they would have, I mean, Tom wouldn't have been like, it's not like he could have said, oh, by the way, you shouldn't live at home. And like, he wouldn't have known. Right. Okay. So say, how much you know about cancer? Cancer. Yeah. Okay. Well, why do you ask? Well, I got to tell you, my parents, my folks, and then because Tom feels, like useless or not appreciated or looked down upon, this guy's coming to him and he's like, oh, wow, you're coming to me for help. And this is so incredible. Like you're so strong and, you're this powerful guy and you're coming to me for help, and then he kind of just says, yeah, okay, I'll help you find a cure. And he kind of like, kind of talks before he really should have, like he really should have thought that over more. But then Nuke gets a bit like, he's like, oh, thank you so much. Oh my God, thanks. And he's like, oh shit, like what have I done here? Like I can't how am I going to cure this? Like that's like it's going to be impossible. But then he's determined. He's like, okay, I'll try to figure out a way.
And I love how Nuke is like, okay, great, thank you, Tom, so much. By the way, they're pretty bad, so they're probably going to die soon, and I need that cure quick. Okay, thanks.
Right.
It's like, dude,
well,
he can't just come up with it like in a day or two. Come on.
Well, that's the thing about Nuke's youth, right?
Right.
Because where things go with Nuke, I mean, if you've shown the cover of issue 3, the audience has an idea. But where things go with Nuke, which is not a good place. Had Grunwald not been as good a storyteller, it would have been a bit, that's a bit sudden. It's a bit of a turn. But he's established that Nuke is very young, right? His parents are really all he's got. Him and his little brother are all they've got. And the little brother is really key in the next issue, I think. But so Nuke's desperation and his lack of emotional maturity actually make what comes, it makes sense. I think, anyway. It's just my take.
And I understand why he's like this because, we talked earlier about Nighthawk and how he feels all this guilt for what happened with the Overmind and everything. Well, look at Nuke. His powers are killing his parents.
Mm-hmm.
And, and imagine the guilt that he's feeling. And that's kind of what's, I'm sure, fueling this. But it puts Tom in an impossible position,
Yeah. Yeah, and Tom's like, oh, what am I going to do? All right, so we cut back here. So here's where we've got so you guys were mentioning the American Eagle. That's the father, and he gave him this new costume. So he's got this new costume now. And they're establishing a little bit of so there's a little bit of a mini triangle. What's great about Mark's writing is that it always makes it feel like there's a lot going on that we haven't seen, but we understand. It's very nuanced, like where it's like they have just maybe 1 or 2 panels or perhaps a page, and you're like, oh, I understand this entire backstory. Like I understand, like you get it. Like even with just these few little panels here of him just saying stuff, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I understand that, because we're not stupid. We've read comics. Like he knows that the people reading this comic have read other comics and understand how story works. So they don't need to spell out the entire, like we don't need an entire episode dedicated to the American Eagle and his son, right? Like, it's like in some dialogue, you see a couple of maybe panels here and there. That's it. I understand. But there's the little bit of the love triangle too with, I don't know if it's hinted at here or if it's hinted at in the next one.
I think it's later.
It's a little bit later. Yeah. Okay. So we'll cover that later. I love that. Like, I like her. This is her Black Canary, the like screaming font or whatever, like, Comic Sans, like bold, 16 like this is 12 point, this is like 18 or whatever. Attention citizens, Cosmopolis, come on, that's cool. This is the Squadron Supreme. It's like, geez, it's like, so you just see the yelling. I like that. It's like, it doesn't have to say, like there's no description saying and then she screams. It's like, you understand the way that they just did the speech bubble. We want our food. Yeah, it's like we're starving. Your last shipment never reached us. So it's like, again, I mean, no one's moving. Well, I guess we'll have to, like, so it's like they're like literally crowded. Look, it's Optimus Prime. I just noticed that. No, they're like gathering here. It's like food. It's like, stand aside, Eagle. I'll handle those clowns. You're like, okay. So this guy's the Firestorm guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Gosh, Firestorm was one of my favorite 80s costume designs.
For sure.
I love the original Firestorm, the Nuclear Man design. Man, was it Kurt Swan that drew that for a while? Gosh, it was beautiful when it first started. So,
yeah, I still had my I think I still have my childhood Superpowers Firestorm toy, and that was awesome. Okay, so he shows up. He's like, "Oh, listen up, you buttheads." When the squadron tells you to move it, we mean business. So it's like, holy crap! Like, again, I mean, this is bullshit, right? He's just attacking, and then she does nail him. So you can already see that Nuke's losing it. Optimus Prime would yeah.
And this kind of calls back to the first issue when he attacks those guys, kind of flies off the handle and attacks
The
those
soldiers.
people in the first issue, because it established right away. Because one thing, it's like not just injecting some action, it's displaying his character and who
Right.
he is. And he's a guy who is emotionally immature and emotionally kind of labile, and he has a short temper, and he really kind of acts without thinking. And it helps make what he does later seem more reasonable and make more sense for his character.
Right. So she knocks him out back at our meeting, the daily meeting. Okay, so it's like, yeah, Eagle Lark did make a peep about my little slip up, so they kind of gave him a pass. They didn't say anything.
He's a great character, American Eagle. He's a sorry, Classico.
I'm sorry, you go ahead. You finish yours.
Well, I'm just going to say American Eagle, Blue Eagle. Oh, God, I'm trying not to say the Lamprey. Classic knows what I'm talking about. I'm trying not to say the Lamprey line from issue 12. But anyway, yeah, because J-Man, I just don't want to spoil any of it for you, because if you think it's been good up till 6, wow.
Hey Sam.
Yeah, it only gets
intense.
better.
Oh, God, you are going to need some tissues, mate. It gets so intense. No, it is. The last 6 issues, oh, my God, it is. Yeah. In 1985, or 86 when it came out, issues 12 blew my mind. I was 16 when I read it, and my head just exploded. Yeah. Anyway, back to Nuke and American Eagle. Great characters. Sorry, Classic, you go.
So I was going to say...
Yeah, that's me, 1986, reading issue 12. That's what it felt like.
And but the thing is, again, they don't say anything about what Nuke did, and that probably was a mistake. They probably should have called attention to that.
Right.
And said, look, he got way out of control, and and they should have checked him. They should have checked him and said something. But they kind of, like you say, Lark and Eagle, they kind of let it slide, and they don't say anything.
All right, now here's more problems. So Tom Thumb, realizing the dangers of Nuke, created this containment suit, and instead of saying thanks, he gets angry, saying, "Well, I want you to cure my parents. I don't care about this containment suit. You're supposed to be working on that." He's like, "I know, but I can't cure that in 1 second." He's like, "But this I can do right now." And then he kind of gets all pissy with him, and then he still puts on the suit, though, and that's again more evidence of what's going to happen. And then is it here where we discover Tom's thing? Or
no, not that comes at the end of the issue.
Okay, that comes. Okay. All right, so please hurry. There's not much time. It's like, oh my gosh, that's it. Time. This is okay, I mean, come on, this is awesome.
Yeah.
This
is setup and payoff. But you listen to Mauler on other streams talk about setup and payoff in storytelling and films. This comic series has tremendous setup and payoff.
Yeah.
I mean, for every character.
Yeah, the writing in this book is just so much better than what you see in comics now. It's sad.
Yeah, so he puts on this device here, and he's able to travel through time to this guy, Scarlet Centurion, who we saw, and he went back to his own time, which is the future, and he's like, well, in the future, all of these diseases are cured. So can you give me the cure? I'll make you a deal. What do you want? Like, what do you want for the cure? And so he's like, Scarlett's like, okay, well, let me think about it. I'll give you the cure, but I want you to give this capsule to Hyperion. It's got the Argonite in it, and he's like, but it's like, I'm not going to kill Hyperion. Which I guess just by where this story is going and people's reactions, I'm guessing this probably would have been a good idea, but kill 2 birds with 1 stone. But anyway, no, I'm not going to kill Hyperion. I'm like, that's bullshit. He's like, well, okay, then, F that. You're not getting the... Now, it doesn't actually kill him, though. I think he says it just weakens him a
weakens
bit.
him.
Yeah, okay. So just,
then
here,
it
right here.
allows, it allows Scarlet Centurion to then come on and defeat Hyperion himself, right?
Right, yeah.
But
So it'll just weaken him a little bit.
Yeah, but Tom is too noble. Tom is that's why he's the MVP of this book for me, because he is too good a man to allow that to happen.
Right.
Even though there's a terrible cost for him.
Yep. So he doesn't do it.
Here
Tom,
it comes.
you're asleep. Oh God, he loses his mind here. You misshapen little creep. You lied to me. I counted on you and you failed me. So he gets pissed off because it's like, well, I can't cure it for you. And then he takes off. He looks, oh my God, he looks like Cyclone from He-Man. I don't know if you guys are He-Man fans. Oh my God, that's exactly Cyclone. I'm sure they took that from here. Unless, oh no, He-Man, I don't know if He-Man would have been first. Oh, He-Man may have been first. It's just a coincidence. It just they look almost like he looks exactly like that. And then we find out that Tom Thumb is also dying of cancer. So that was that.
And sorry, I was just going to say, and what we kind of see in this issue is, because Tom says it, that heroes don't betray other heroes,
Right.
And one of the things I think that impacts the story in both positive and negative ways as it goes along is loyalty, and the idea of loyalty, because Tom won't betray Hyperion, because he's loyal to Hyperion and to the Squadron. But it's also that same loyalty that makes him keep Nuke's secret, which kind of winds up being a mistake.
Right. So issue 3. I can't remember who said this. It's one of these guys, like one of these comic book guys, who said issue 3 is like your important one. The first issue is just always the first issue of a comic. Well, they introduce some guys and you kind of get the lay of the land. And then issue 2 is like, okay, some action happens. And then 3 is usually where now like, are you sticking with this series or are you just kind of done, right? Like, for example, I've tried many of the current, like I'll try Deadpool every time they relaunch it. I try it. I get the first couple, usually issue 3. I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of done. This happens with it happened with all of those. Whenever they relaunch things, I don't know, like, Avengers or something, or, whatever, Iron Man, whatever. It's like, yeah, Iron Man, they relaunched that. I read the first series, like, 3 is kind of the magic issue where it's like, okay, you're like, yeah, shit, I got, like, where's this going? Like, this is getting crazy now and I've got to finish this. And this is the one where I was like, oh yeah, got to buy this for sure. And I got the whole series. You can tell what's going to happen because you saw the cover. So they're gonna fight it out. Here's your Wonder Woman character with her Power Princess with her shield thingy or whatever she's got there, like makes like an invisible shield, I guess. Beating the crap these guys. Now this, and you're like, oh, she's beating them up, and you can see it's a TV. That's kind of cool, eh? Like how they made it like it's like an ad. Give up your guns. And you're like, I don't know if that's gonna go over well, but anyway. Oh, Philip, you gotta go. All right, man. Take it easy. Thanks for popping in. Too bad Tom wasn't more loyal to the Republic. Okay, so it's like they're, it's like, you guys okay? We're just doing making a commercial here. Now here's the Me Too moment.
The Me Too moment.
So Spectrum here makes the constructs, and he comes and he literally like flicks. You can see here he flicks her top here, and her top gets revealed, and she's like, "Oh my god!"
This is a Zapped reference. I'm sure of it. I'm sure they were thinking of Zapped. Because wasn't that like 1984? The Scott Bio movie?
I mean, I doubt Mark Gruenwald saw Zapped, honestly.
I haven't seen Zapped. Let me tell you what let's see. Zapped, 1982, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was a teen
Oh God, yes, I remember this. No, I never saw it. I never saw it.
Yeah, I doubt that Mark Gruenwald was like a middle-aged guy in his late 30s at this point. I doubt he saw Zapped personally.
Right. Yeah, I saw. Oh gosh, I remember this poster. Oh my God. They made a remake of it. Oh no, it's something else. But there's another movie called Zapped. But
they probably will eventually.
Yeah. So that's. I mean, Wonder Woman's gonna kick the crap out of him, right? But she grabs them, and it's like she's
no, she
pissed.
doesn't.
She doesn't. I know. She doesn't.
She walks it off like a boss. She's like, "Oh, you saw my boobs, big deal." Just walks it off.
Yeah. No, I was joking. I was like, she's gonna beat the crap out of him. So she's like, oh, he's like, I'm just joking. It's like, okay, fine. And then she takes the cape though and covers herself up. That's actually the end of the entire matter, really. She kind of gets him back in a little bit of another way, but that's really the end of it. She doesn't even really bring it up at the meeting, which you'd think for sure she definitely would bring it up. But so then they're saying, talking, oh my God, this is so crazy. Here's what happened. And they're like, oh shit, she's coming in. And then walks by. It's like, weed, woo. Weed, wee. So now we got the meeting.
Just shows you though the difference in 80s thinking and 80s sensibilities and today's sensibilities, where we're at today. That we cannot today. You can't laugh at that. That's like, that's not funny at all. There's a terrible violation of someone's privacy there. It is not funny, and there's lots of ists and other words that will be used against you. So, yeah, sad really, because you see her reaction to it, and you can see that for her it just wasn't that big a deal. It's annoying, a little bit embarrassing, but not a big deal. She didn't care,
right?
You know, because her self-esteem is way above having to worry about shit like that.
Yeah, and here's your first empty chair. So where's Nuke? Yeah, I haven't seen that guy in a while.
Yeah,
what's going
there
on? There
will be more.
It's like, okay, well, you know, I've got to. So Hyperion, they're giving their reports now, and as you can see, the reports, it's like showing the progress. I can report that every gun and ammunition factory in America has been shut down. Archer, Lark, how did the personal appearance in Angelopolis go? He's like, oh, it's a smash, blah, blah. So, you know, doing all their stuff. Now, but I like how he's sitting on. Don't they have a chair that goes up? Can't they go? He's sitting on a couple of textbooks here. They're trying to figure out what's going on with Nuke, right? Like, you know, let's talk about Nuke. This is the 28th meeting he's missed. Wow. So, I mean, that's crazy. So he's thinking, oh, maybe I should, you know, should I tell them, you know, like that he's pissed off and, you know, that he's asking me about my parents, and he doesn't tell them, but he gives them a little bit of a hint, right? He says he may have gone home or something, or was that this one? Considering, I think he says, he lives with his parents or whatever. So they send Spectrum to go find him. And Spectrum doesn't want, this is funny, he doesn't want to go, but then Hyperion kind of like gives him the, yeah, you're going. Like, he doesn't say it, but like he gives the impression of like, yeah, you better, you know.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I can tell by the look on his face, he's not going to take an excuse. He's going to make me do this.
Yeah, like, I'm going. So she got him back a bit by volunteering his name, saying, oh, he knows Nuke, why does he go?
Being in the military, I'm very familiar with that, with getting voluntold to do something.
Right. So he's got to go out, puts his cape on, and he's like, okay, check the hospital. So check at the hospital. He's like, oh, okay, thanks, Pee-wee, I'll do that. And he goes off, calls him Pee-wee.
Yeah, you know, and that kind of follows on the previous issue or second issue where they were calling Thumbelina. You know, he's pretty dismissive and kind of really kind of disrespectful to Tom Thumb.
Yeah. To
be fair though, Spectrum that's how Spectrum interacts with everyone. Like
Yeah, I'm
he's
sure he isn't doing it to be malicious. That,
no,
like
no.
you say, it's just kind of his character.
Right.
What would be the American expression? So I suppose a British expression, he'd be a bit of a lad. I don't know what the expression would be in terms of America, Canada, though. Sort of for what his behavior's like.
He's a bit of a heel or something, or like a
Uh,
he's not,
Just a jerk.
he's a,
yeah,
he's a bit
just
of a jerk.
yeah.
He just doesn't mean it as a dire insult. Like he's not a malicious character.
Uh-huh.
He's just a bit thoughtless and insensitive.
He's a bit flippant. He just
Yeah.
All right, so he flies to the hometown here of this guy's, goes down here. Look at Amphibian. This is great. He's sleeping in this like tank or whatever. Yeah, everyone's like hanging out. It's like they don't have a proper headquarters yet. They're gonna they'll get one soon, but they're kind of just hanging out right now. He got his costume hung up there. Yeah.
So we find out that Arcana sleeps in the nude.
Yeah. It's like woohoo. It's like, what is it, Tom?
Well, actually, Wizard's actually quite embarrassed about that. He says, "What would my wife think?"
Yep.
He actually says that at one point. What would my wife think if she knew I was this far from Arcana Jones?
Yes, he does say. I think that's over here. Yeah, it's like, I think it's in here. Co-ed dormitory. Yeah, and she's in the nude. All right, so Spectrum's looking for the parents. I think they've passed away by now, right? Did they still get passed away?
Yeah.
Yes, I think so.
Because that's where he finds Nuke.
Right. All right. So then he flies back. We cut back to our heroes here.
There's a great bubble there. If you just scroll down a bit, J-Man, there's a great bubble about what Arcana says about the Wizard. She says, "Gosh, Stan gets real stony when he doesn't get a good night's sleep."
Yeah.
Just that sort of relationship, that they're actually kind of friends and they know each other really well and they're adults. Right. It's quite funny. So thinking about, like, she's talking about like a work colleague. Sid from accounting. He doesn't get a good night's sleep. He's a bit of a jerk.
I forgot exactly what's going on here. These are the guys that don't want to give up the guns, right?
Yeah, this is the anti-disarmament guys.
So now this is actually so the Wizard, I mean, this is like the Flash. I mean, this is nothing. He just whips all the guns out of their hands and that's the end of it. Now they do shoot though, and I mean, he can block and everything, but like they could still get hit. And she does some spells and makes the is it spells or she controls the camera? She's the
spells, I think.
Spells is kind of
yeah. But look at the discussion Arcana has with the guy she's pinned against the fence. She has a really good discussion with him, and think about what Classical know what he says about why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah, so this is actually, as far as I mean, I'm not American, but I believe this was the reason for whichever amendment it is for the guns. Is it Second Amendment? Is that the guns thing?
Second Amendment, yeah.
Yeah, so this was the I guess the reason for the founding fathers or whatever to even have this, which is that he says we can't protect, like, you got powers, we don't. We only have our guns. We're normal guys. He's like, you take them away from us and we'll have nothing to protect ourselves with if you and the feds go crazy again. And you mentioned this earlier, Classic, saying that, yeah, again, like, they were crazy and went evil. Now they were being controlled. So, okay, that's fine. They don't know that, but still the point is that they went crazy. It's like, we've got nothing to protect ourselves except for these guns. And she kind of is a bit more like open to like, yeah, maybe, like, you have my word that the squadron means the best for you. It's like, okay, that's fine. But, it's like, I'll only believe that with a gun in my hand.
Yeah, she asks, I wonder if we've really thought this through, what we're doing here.
Yeah, she says that right in this page right here.
And again, that's kind of so different from what you see in comics now, where she's having doubts and she's like, are we doing the right thing? Whereas, in comics now, the protagonists, they're always, they're always, they got no doubt they're right, and that everyone else who disagrees with them is wrong, even when they're, killing people for little to no reason.
Yeah. So the reason why there's two reasons. So one of them is here, in current writing, not just for comics, for anything, this guy would be painted as a total idiot scumbag. Oh, you just want to have your guns, and you're this big gun-toting guy, and you're an idiot, and I'm totally right, and you're a bad guy, and you're an idiot, and this is all good. But the thing is that they wouldn't write this piece of dialogue saying, he'd just be like, you can't take my guns from me. I'll do whatever I have to do to keep them. She's like, oh yeah. And then she'd take the gun away and throw it, like, yeah, these people are crazy with their stupid guns. That's the way someone would write it now, because they're anti-gun or whatever. It's like,
right.
I can't tell if Mark Grunwald is, pro or gun or against gun. Like, it's just like, you can't really tell. It's like, I guess it's like, because who's right in this situation? It feels almost like this guy's right. Like, yeah, I want my gun to protect me in case you go crazy. So it's almost like he's on his side more than the heroes. Mm-hmm. But anyways, there wouldn't be a discussion. There would just be statements. No. He would be a bad guy. This guy would be the bad guy. She'd be the good guy. This entire dialogue would not be, this panel would be removed. It would just be like, well, you guys are idiots. And she's like, well, there's your gun. Why do these? And this would all be removed.
Yeah, she'd give him a big lecture about his male privilege and call him a fascist and all this stuff.
Right. And that would be it.
She listens. She listens.
Yeah.
That's what's missing in today's world, is listening. That she listens to his point of view and she thinks about it, and she considers maybe there is something there. I'm still going to go ahead with the Squadron's plan, but I need to still listen to the people who we're trying to help.
And from her point of view, she's telling the truth. Like, she does think, she's like, no, we are doing this to help. We're not going to turn bad. We want to help you. But the thing is that, is it your right to force your help onto these people? That's the whole thing. That's like this whole entire 3 issues. Like, should this even be happening? Like,
right.
I found this child. I'm going to bring them home and keep them in my house forever and protect them. It's like, okay, but like, that's kidnapping, right? But I'm protecting them. I'm feeding them, and I'm going to get them Air Jordans, and I'm going to get them, they're going to have steak every night. Like, I know, but you're controlling them and keeping them prisoner. Okay. Yeah. This is the reason I bought the comic right here, or I bought the whole series. This entire whatever, I don't know what page this is. There's no page numbers. From this page to the rest of the comic is the damn best.
Oh God, yeah, it's heartbreaking.
Oh, so he's talking to the parents. Now, this kid here, this is Nuke's brother, who buys action figures and loves the heroes, and didn't really notice that his brother was one of the guys that unmasked.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh my God, my brother's. Oh, so first of all, Spectrum's there. And he's like, what the hell? I can't believe Spectrum is here. Like, you're the best. I love you. I have your toys and all that. Goes on a ride with them.
And you do wonder why he doesn't have a radiation sickness too, like his parents do.
I'm thinking that, because brothers, with Nuke being a hero and going around doing a lot of stuff, he may not have been around that long. And the brother seems a lot younger. So it may not have, maybe it does have, maybe he does. I don't know if it comes up later. Maybe he does have some, or maybe not. No. But yeah, I'm thinking that, like, because, if there's enough of an age gap, you don't really hang around I don't have any brothers and sisters, but you don't really hang around with them, right? If there's enough of an age gap, maybe.
Yeah, there's at least probably 10 years, I'd say, because he looks primary school age, the boy, whereas Nuke, I believe he's just 20. And Spectrum talks about him earlier, that he took Nuke out drinking once, and that he was really immature. So he sees Nuke, Spectrum, as sort of a real immature kid.
Mm-hmm.
That he almost, he's a bit of a drag. Doesn't dislike Nuke, but he just doesn't see him as someone. Archer is his big drinking buddy,
Right.
And camaraderie is what, and fellowship is why Spectrum's in the squadron, really. I mean, he's not a bad guy, but the camaraderie is what he's really there for.
Right.
And that's
Right.
something Nuke calls him out on in a second.
Yeah. So they go to the parents' grave. There's Nuke. He's pissed off. I don't want your pity. It's all your fault. I mean, Tom Thumb, he had the ability to save my parents who refused. It's like, okay, I mean, what was he going to do? This whole dialogue is pretty good. It's like, what? And he's thinking, like, what is he ranting about? And you can see he's just like completely insane. His eyes are messed up. He's, gritting his teeth here. He's like destroying shit, like just nuking everything. The kid's like hiding, flies off. Look at the like craziness in his eyes. Okay, kid, stay here. Or no, sorry. He's like, I'll take you back. And then he flies over, and now you have your classic superhero battle. It's like blasting back and forth. He encases him in this like bubble thing to like, because like Nuke is like destroying shit too. He's not just attacking Spectrum. He's like causing a lot of damage. There was no, I mean, what's going to happen. There's not really much of a choice by Spectrum here. So they fly up, shoot, and they've never really fought. So even Spectrum's like, I'm wondering, can my prism like hold out against this? And he's just blasting the crap out of him, and he's shooting back. And just again, more and more, he creates these, like strapping constructs or whatever. And then this, like you can see his arm is pointing down, so he's causing even more damage, like underneath him, destroying all the cables here. So then he encases him fully in this sphere thing. And then Nuke's like trying to like, I guess like blast out of it. And then so he's like increasing the thickness of the sphere. And then Nuke just basically like dies. Like he just kind of like, he just like what the heck? Like he just nuked himself to death kind of, or like
he suffocates. He used up all the oxygen and suffocates.
Yeah, right. I think that's what they're implying.
Yeah.
That's
it. So he's done. So now this is awesome. So here we go. He's like, well, I just killed this guy. I'm going to cover it up. I'm going to say some supervillain had a fight with them, and then he thinks about it, like, oh, I'm going to just, like let this play out and say, oh, I found him and he was already dead. But then he's like, no, I can't do that. I wouldn't be able to really live with myself if I did that. So he just explains it.
Look at who comforts him first. Who's the first person to go and say, it's all right, Joe.
Yes, the one who he Me Too'd.
Yeah. Well, that's a great reversal from the start of the issue. Is the very first person to support him is Power Princess.
Yeah. Now, here we go. I can't believe it. He comes back. He tells the brother, "Look, I effed up, and I killed your brother in like a superhero battle." And the kid is like, "Well, you're a hero." It's like, I guess that you had to do what you had to do. I was just like, is that really happening right now? Like I thought for sure.
Yeah, this is one part where I think the writing kind of falls. The kid takes this way too well. This kid has lost his mother, his father, and his brother in the span of a week or so.
Right.
And he's just kind of like, oh, well, that's too bad.
Well, hang on.
I like that.
Don't feel bad, Spectrum.
No, I like that a lot. I really like that.
It is a subversion, because what you would expect, the superhero trope, you killed my brother, I will grow up and take my vengeance, blah, 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 right? You just created the next supervillain. So that's such a trope in superhero story writing. But they don't go down that route. They say, nope, we're not going to go that way this time. That this little kid's going to be, well, shit. I mean, he knew Nuke anyway. Like he knew I think his name was Albert Gaines was his real name. He knew what his personality was like, and that he was reckless, and he probably, I mean, he may not have been a particularly great brother. So they subvert the trope here, and I think it works because you're so expecting the child to lose his mind and revenge and blah blah blah. Because that doesn't happen, I don't know. I really prefer it this way.
No, this made me buy the comic because I was so stunned. I'm like, I can't be. I took it this way. The brother was acting weird. The kid says it. The kid loves Spectrum. He believed in him. He believes him so much that it's like, my brother's acting weird, and I believe in you so much that you're a hero, that you must have done the right thing, and there was no other choice for you. And the fact that he comes clean, he's sort of rewarded by, have like not having another villain. Like, I thought, oh God, this kid's going to go on this big rant now. And it still would have been justified. Like, if the kid did say, screw you, kill my brother, and it would have been justified for the kid to do that. But I actually like that he didn't. And that meant that because of the way this happened, I thought, this is not going to play out exactly how I think it's always going to play out, because they're going to flip the story on me sometimes. And I liked it. I thought it was really neat, just because I've never seen this in any other story that I've ever read. I was just like, oh, here's another villain in the making. But I thought it was kind of neat. And yeah, I guess maybe, I don't know how realistic it could be, but they kind of gave enough excuses for me to buy it in this issue. So
yeah, no, I just think it's a really well done exchange between the two characters. I think it's a good bit of writing. And okay, this issue,
yeah,
if there's one issue where things really turn, and this is the real turn, where this issue, although issue 6, I'd say, has one of the best moral discussions of the whole series, like when it comes to a head in issue 6. But this is excuse me.
Yeah, the first few issues are kind of like almost like an arc with Nuke's story, but the real narrative and the real story really kind of picks up here with the well, we'll see what happens.
They cross a line. It's like the crossing of the Rubicon. With Caesar, they cross a line in issue 4 that propels them down a one-way path, right? So.
And this is kind of what Nighthawk was talking about. He's like, the only way you can do this is if you're going to force people to go along with it. Unless you take control of everything and everyone, this is never going to work.
Right.
And this is where we see that really starting to take shape.
Yeah, and I'll go through the because there's a lot to discuss with the moral decisions here, but we can go through this. So you got cool superhero stuff. They're teaming up. But here's where you start to get a sense that Blue Eagle and Lady Lark kind of also like each other. You've got the belts here. This is your protection. Like Tom Thumb has made sort of a protection thing for the guys. You got your little belt here, and she can do her scream powers, take these guys out, come back. And I think this is where they start to say that, they've got a little bit of a somewhat liking. She's like, oh, I love, this guy's pretty cool, blah, blah, blah. I'm falling for him. Da-da-da-da. Don't make it obvious you're falling for him. But this is not Golden Archer. Hey, what's going on? She's choosing a different guy here. Wizard beating the crap out of guys. Amphibian, they're all here fighting. Boom, gets blasted. That's cool. Throws it through the tank here. That's neat. Force field belts like Brainiac. Yeah, Brainiac 5. I know. It's the Brainiac 5 belts. So Amphibian bends it here. That's kind of cool. Flip the tank over. Oh, let's get out of here. Here comes Golden Archer, shooting his stuff with Arcana.
And this is a small thing. Can you go back up a little bit there? Look at at Power Princess and Amphibian there. As they're running away and they're shaking hands, like, "Hey, good work."
Yeah, giving the fist pumps.
Would you see that between a man and a woman in a comic now?
Oh yeah, no way. Yeah, no way. No one like Green Arrow, Golden Archer, only Hawkeye's cool. Yeah, I love.
It would be written where she did everything and he was just kind of dead weight, and then she would say something snide and condescending to him about how useless he is.
Right.
I think this is a renegade army unit. These are actually soldiers. These aren't militia. This is the renegade army unit who have refused disarmament.
Right.
So the squadron are just disarming them by force.
Yeah, so they mentioned that earlier, saying that there's going to be it's like the government can say, okay, yeah, we're going to do this and stuff, but it's different when you go to someone. It's like, these like kind of armies and stuff. It's like, well, I'm not giving you the guns. Like, screw you. Like,
yeah.
So they're fighting it out, and so he actually, I think his thing malfunctions here for a second, and he gets no, he does get just barely. He gets protected. But his thing malfunctioned for a second, and he would have died, but he almost died.
Twice, actually. There's another one coming.
Yeah. Right. And then this guy, yes. So this actually knocks out. So he's protected the first time, and then this knocks the belt out, and then this guy's about to kill him, and then Wizard comes in and removes the gun. So he's like, what? Oh, what the heck? Where's my gun? And so he's like, he's dead. He thought he was going to die. And then he just punches him in the punches him in the face, busting the guns over his knee. It's like, get on the loudspeaker and order them to surrender. It's like, hear that?
There's something also established here, and Hyperion says it expressly later on, that he almost never will engage with a human being in a fist fight. I mean, the Scarlet Centurion was a bit of an aberration in his character, but he says it, I think, when in issue 5 or 6. But because you watch what Hyperion does, he doesn't engage with the soldiers. He doesn't fight the soldiers directly. He just does all the property damage.
Right. Okay. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. He won't go and punch people. Like, he'd kill them pretty much if he punched one, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Because he's just too powerful. And of course, the question is, during all this, where's Joe? What's Spectrum doing?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. That will be answered. Okay. So they collected up the weapons. Now they're coming back, and now they're literally Spectrum now, because of his fight with Nuke and the death of Nuke, he's kind of like, not that excited about going into combat anymore. So he's just been destroying the weapons. That's been his kind of job. And that's all kind of explained, like, yeah, it's okay, buddy. You're forgiven, and it's okay. You gotta forgive yourself for what happened. And it's like, yeah, sure, Joe. Whatever. So he goes back. I never used to think of death very much, and then he kind of. This is cool, Skrull. Like, so that's not the Skrulls that we know, though, right? It's like alternate universe Skrulls.
Well, it's Skrulls from this universe, but they're. I mean, they're also shapeshifters, but they don't get into it in this series. But in this universe, they don't have sort of the personalities that the Skrulls in the mainstream universe have. Where they're all
assholes.
Yeah, they're not like scheming conquerors and stuff like that.
Well, Skrull would have been Martian Manhunter, right?
Yeah, he was this Skrull was the Martian Manhunter counterpart when they originally formed the squadron. And this is pretty much the only time we see him here in this flashback. He wouldn't really appear in a story until like the early 2000s. They did a story that included him.
Okay, so this is your origin instead of having your Green Lantern guy pass the ring on. He gives them the prism. The power prism, and then that's your story here. Recap. They're still doing recaps in this time. They, maybe you didn't read issue, 3 or whatever.
Then it was a month apart.
Yep. So yeah, that's fine. That's I like this. Like, here's the chair for you to come back. It's pretty funny. All right, meeting time.
Here we go. Oh,
so
good one.
Now here's where the important stuff happened. Now the real game begins. I'm happy to report here's this invention. So this is the behavior modification machine. So they're going to have this program where you put your head in this thing, and it doesn't just blow dry your hair. It messes with your mind and makes you not want to do criminal things. It's like Clockwork Orange style.
Yep.
So they should have made it orange. Come on. No. So any criminal will be reformed. Hooray. And there was much rejoicing. Yay. Now Amphibian is like, hold on a second. You can see everyone's like, yeah, look at his face. He's like, wait a minute. Wait, huh? What? Wait a minute. He actually says, wait a minute. You know what's funny? I was just pretending to talk. I didn't actually read this. He actually says, no, wait a minute. Yeah, I don't know about this one.
Yeah, but it's what you said, J-Man, that with that initial, is that first panel of them all in agreement, but here the faces change,
Right.
and there's some disagree. You can see, look at the face, look at Spectrum's expression, look at Eagle. Eagle has the view: you disobey the law, you lose all your rights.
Right.
He's got a very black and white view of law and order, right?
Yeah.
Lady Luck's not so sure. Arcana's not so sure.
Yeah.
Hyperion thinks it's great. Power Princess thinks it's great. And there's a speech from Amphibian on the next page. I didn't see anything wrong with our gun control program.
Right. Yeah, he says it right here.
Away from people that guns have only one purpose, and that's killing. But this is different. This is not taking away hunks of metal. This is removing a piece of a person's mind.
Yeah.
A chunk of their personality. You're tampering with free will, right? So yeah, this is where it gets deep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we lost Nighthawk right away. Nuke we lost because of the craziness. Amphibian was already teetering. He was already teetering, but and it's funny too, because with these speeches, you start to think to yourself, and I was thinking that too. I'm thinking like, I don't know. You know, I never really sat in the real world. I never really sat and thought about guns. Like, you know, it's not like, you know, in Canada, a lot of people have guns and everything, and they're hunting, and there's a lot. And it's not really such a, you know, nobody really thinks about it too much. It's like, okay, you know, you have a guy, you know, my buddy, like one of my buddies has one. He goes to the range and stuff. One of my members, like, you know, had a gun shop, right? Like his dad had, like you know, so it's like you didn't really think too much about it. And then it's only now when you see all these things come up, people are like anti this or anti that. And you're like, oh, so when I'm reading this, I'm like, I don't know. Like, yeah, the gun thing, I'm not sure about, but this, you're like, okay, hell no, you can't start altering minds. So like, I'm out. Like I'm with I feel like I'm Amphibian at this point. Like, yeah, I'm done with that. You can't be messing with people's minds. That's crazy. It's one thing to say, okay, you can't have weapons. This is a whole nother thing now. So again,
Grunwald also gives us the other points of view, right? He doesn't he doesn't just give us Amphibian. Oh, Amphibian's obviously right. You hear from
you're right.
Wizard. You hear from Arcana. You hear from Blue Eagle, right? You hear great. There's a greater good argument from Power Princess at the bottom of the page. As long as they're individuals whose goals are not in keeping with the greater good, society must do something to protect ourselves from them, right? And how do they resolve it? The vote.
Yeah. And we're pretty sure Amphibian's gonna, you know, now Arcana didn't go for it either, though.
No, they abstained.
But Arcana was the one that had the conversation. She was already a little bit like in last issue. She was already thinking, I don't know, maybe, you know, she was a bit teetering. So Amphibian's like, yeah, F this, I'm done. So it's like, okay, well, yeah. And he's just like, okay, yeah, I'm really starting to have doubts about this group, you know? And now we get to, it's like, it's what's so great. It's within the same issue, but, Golden Archer likes Lady Lark, and he because of his brush with death, he's sort of like, you know what, maybe I got to get serious. I really should, you know, propose to this woman, and they've been kind of on and off, right? So that's sort of, and she's had feelings for Blue Eagle, and he's like, okay, well, let's get married. And she's like, and she was going to say, I think we should see other people kind of thing. Like she was getting ready to tell him that. And then he put on the proposal.
That's coming later. The breakup speech.
Yeah.
It's epic.
It is good. Yeah.
But now it's girl talk time.
Yes. And look at Tom. He's like sitting on him. He's holding him like a kid.
But look at the girl talk sequence that comes next.
Yes,
I think it's brilliant for 1985.
Oh, it's
That's really
brilliant
forward
now.
thinking.
So I'm in an awful predicament. Archer's proposed to me. He's really serious about it, and I was actually going to get around to telling him that we should, we're kind of like not feeling the same way, and how could I possibly let him down easy? And I like that Arcana has her personal problems as well, but she doesn't bring it up at the time because she's like, well, she's come to me, so I better give her my help or whatever. Philip is her husband, right? Yes. Oh no, wait. Before I met Philip. Oh yeah, okay. I had the same situation once before I met Philip. Okay, yeah. So I also recommend. So she's basically saying, you know what? Just get it over with. Be gentle but firm, and just do it right away because you're just gonna let them you don't want to let it linger. And then she's like, "Oh, I wanted to say something," and then, no, it's okay. And then she kind of doesn't talk about her problems.
Well, she's not a problem though. That's the thing for Arcana. She's overjoyed that she's pregnant again, and still no PJs. Gosh, no.
Yeah.
I mean, people today, in today's comics, would make a big deal about that scene between the two women and put a lot into that. Like today's writers, but this is just two women who are friends having a discussion about emotional stuff, and about their relationships with men. Right? That's what they're talking about, men. I cannot see anything like this in a 2020s comic. I can't imagine anything like that.
Oh, 100%. Let's take a quick break for a second. Check out the poll. 62% give this series a 5 out of 5, and 38% give it a 4 out of 5, and that's the lowest score anyone's given. So
nice.
Based on these issues, I'd give it a 5 out of 5, like easy. I had to stop myself from reading more. Like I physically just said, okay, I'm going to stop because I want to make sure that I have them fresh. Are we good for next week? Same time? Just I presumed we were okay, but I wasn't sure.
That's quite a good time for me, as far as I know. Well, I'll have to check with my boss. That's my wife, but I'm pretty sure I'm good for this time. And
okay.
Yeah, I'd love to be there for the final discussion because, gosh, if you think this is going places now, wait till you see when you get to the end. It's it's intense.
All right. So there is some dialogue here. So I mean, we're not going to go through all this, but it's basically she says no.
And I think Bob Hall just does a tremendous job with Golden Archer's expression, and he's been doing that all along. I think he has done a great job of making Golden Archer really expressive, but here it really comes through and really helps the story.
Oh yeah, no, he it's awesome with as they're going through it, and he's just like, what? Oh, and then he's like loses it. It's him. It's that Blue Eagle, you bastard. It's that and then he's got the hand shaking. It's like no. And then he's pissed off, smashes his bow, which is his best bow. He says later on, smash my best bow. He takes off, and then Spectrum comes to talk to him. He's like, hey, take your stinking hands off me. It's like, whoa, shit. It's like, and then he's like, he's going to hit him. And then he's like, oh man, it's like, I just come on, Wyatt, let's take a walk. Everything is handled so well here. There's no juvenile there's no juvenile behavior where they start beating the crap out of each other or act stupid or one of the tropes that I absolutely hate in comics and movies and shows is the "you lied to me" thing. They did it they've done it in any movie or show that you've ever seen me talk about or review that I say I hate has this "you lied to me" thing. I don't want to beat Supergirl up, but it just popped into my head the whole oh you didn't tell me you were Supergirl, you lied to me and all that. I'm like, okay, I saved your life 4,000 times and I've saved the planet 1,000,000 times. Okay, I lied to you. Who cares?
That is such an obnoxious trope. And Lois, I by some, I don't know how I saw a clip of that Superman, the animated one, the recent one.
Oh, My Adventures
with Superman, of Lois giving him shit about that, and I thought, oh god, this has to be the worst trope of all. Yeah, with you there, Jay, man.
I hate it. Yeah, I lose all interest immediately upon that. I think I saw there was, I can't remember what it was now. There was one thing where they did it, and it's like, oh, instead of saying you lied to me, it's like, it was more like, well, I understand what you had to do. And, like it was something like that. And I was like, finally someone, and unfortunately now I don't remember what it was, but finally someone like reversed that. Cause it's just like, you just think like, that's like, so Sean tells me, okay, Jay, actually I have superpowers or something. And what, I'm going to be mad at him now. It's like, I just like, oh, okay, that's cool. Right. Like, who cares? Anyway, so they go into off and talk. But we knew this was going to happen. This is something that they didn't subvert your expectation on this one. You knew, you're like, oh shit, I know what's going to happen. Hey Tom, so you got that machine. How does that work again? and he's being so nice to him, and Tom's like, oh, he's treating me so nice. This is fantastic. Yeah, how does that work? What buttons do you press? And it's like, can it do anything? Like, what if you want someone to not like pancakes? Or he's just like asking him some weird, like, ice cream. Yeah, it's ice, not pancakes. He's like, well, what if you just don't want to like ice cream anymore? Yep, that's good. Okay, yeah. Well, I just wanted to know. And then, oh gosh, here we go. Turns dark. It actually is dark, which is great. He goes over. And I love how it's an arrow. So you could see that he's got a specialty arrow that puts you to sleep. That's cool. It's actually like a
chloroform arrow.
Yeah. And it's like, psh, brings her over, types it in. You will love me only. Da 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 da. Oh, why?
The worst part is he says, you won't be interested in anyone else ever again.
Yes.
That's the worst bit, right?
Yes. Yeah, this is one of these. It's like that movie, The Wishmaster, where like you gotta, like the djinn keeps giving you wishes, but then he spins it on. You gotta like word them in such a way that he can't spin it on you. So it's like he did terrible wording here. It's just brutal. Like he just really messed up. Anyway, so she comes running in. Oh my God, I love you. We're gonna get married, and it's all happy, or is it? I don't know. Where's look at him?
Yeah, Blue Eagle's like.
Wait a minute. Wait a second. I thought I was dating her.
And Arcana's there in the background, when she's like shocked because.
Yeah, she just revealed to her. Yeah, let's see that again before I go to the next one. I go back to that. She's like, wait a minute. He's happy. He's like, oh, I'm happy for them. This is fantastic. And this guy's like, what the shit? I thought I was gonna get her. And she's like, what? Really? I was like, yeah, that bird guy doesn't trust it. Yeah, no, he doesn't trust it. I don't think that's really the thing that's going on. All right. Now you've got these villains here, the Institute of Evil. So they've captured him. You just presume, something happened, whatever, the bad guys caught him. And they need information, so they're just zapping him. Gives you a little bit of a flashback how they, again, if you didn't read the last issue, here's a quick, we'll go through this quickly because that's all stuff. So now you've got your villain guys, and they're all, again, different kind of characters from different, Justice League villain characters. So now we've got the first, we'll get back to this. We got the first implementation of that, of the, whatever it's called, what the hell is it called?
The BM device.
Yeah, the behavioral machine,
the
or whatever.
B-mod. Just call it the B-mod machine.
B-mod, yeah. B-mod machine.
Behavior modificator. Okay, so it's like, so any criminal gets a pardon if he voluntarily goes under. So they do, oh, everything's great. This is awesome. Oh, yeah, wow, this is the best ever. Thanks, guys. Yeah, okay. Next, like there's 67.
That's how it starts.
Right. So then she uses her spells. It's like, so 67. Okay, we got to take a break. We can't be here all day. All right, Wizard with his family. Now, this is important for later.
Yeah, very important.
Family. Ralph.
Meeting time.
Like the Flash, he's always just barely on time or late or whatever. 59 minutes later, so he's always late. The fastest man alive is always late to everything. So they're talking about again reflecting back on Nuke, because Spectrum hasn't been taking any of the heavy duty assignments. It's all just been like kind of the simple ones. It's like, okay, easy, so now they need to make. They only had one B mod machine, so they need to have some more. Now there is a bit of well, no, I won't spoil it. We'll go through it. So we go back to the Institute of Evil. They're all discussing, okay, what are we going to do? We got to get this guy, and they hear about the machine, and their plan is to kidnap all the loved ones of the squadron, and then get the machine. Bastards. Yeah, they're bastards, and they want to get the machine and use it on the squadron. That's their plan. They bust into the headquarters, all because of Golden Archer's info. There's like a little stretchy guy. It's like this blobby guy, and whatever. He's kicking the shit out of the machine here, shooting his little laser pellets. He's got his force field thingy, but he does get nailed with this guy's beam.
Parasite who can fly. I mean, if you think about how to make Parasite more terrifying.
Oh, that is cool. Yeah,
that he can fly, because that's what Lamprey is. Parasite. He's actually a terrific villain. Lamprey. He's the scariest of all of them.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite characters in this, actually. And I don't. They mention it somewhere, I know, but if you go back up, the doctor guy, the guy in the there,
Dr. Decibel.
Dr. Decibel. He's the one who gave Lady Lark her powers.
Yes, they do mention that. Yeah, they mention that in the next one when, you'll see.
But it took away her singing voice. Wasn't she a pop star? And it took away her singing voice, but gave her the superpowers. Right.
And she actually says at one point, maybe in that same issue, that she would trade it back to get the voice back or whatever. Okay. So they capture Tom Thumb. Meanwhile, over here, they're on their way. And so they're converting the villains, and there's an emergency. It's like, let's go. Do. So they all take off. Probably time for a coffee break. That's great. No, you ass. So, okay, they're going to put Tom underneath the B mod. Now, I got to tell you, I did not actually guess this. I was reading this. I was like, well, how are they going to get out of this one, right? So by this time, I think I had my cover, like I had my comics. So I was looking at there's spoilers on the covers, right? Because I just got them from eBay, so you got to make sure they're in good condition before you leave your review. So I at this time, before I read this, I got my comics. I was like looking, I'm like, well, I know they're obviously going to get out of this or whatever, but I actually wasn't sure how they're going to get out of it, and I thought, oh, maybe this, and then so it's kind of neat. But anyways, I won't say what it is yet.
No, how it plays out, the reason why they're able to overcome them in the end is brilliant, I think.
Yeah, it's really neat. All right, so now you got your fight with your bad guys. So it's like, so now Spectrum's got his kind of will to fight back, even though he's a bit nervous about it. Here's the TV screen where you see Archer's been kidnapped, and then that's Power Princess's husband. You got the Wizard's that's Arcana's husband. You got Wizard's kid and thingy. And whose mom is this again? I forgot whose mom that was.
Blue Eagle.
American Eagle.
Blue Eagle's mom. Mom. The it says right there. Mom. Oh my God, yeah, he's got my wife. Okay. Now the Wizard. This totally sucks because these guys show up late, and they're like, "What the hell's going on?" And it's like, "Watch out!" And then you got this. Is this your Parasite kind of guy or whatever?
Yeah.
Lamprey. So he grabs him and sucks some of the energy, and he's like, and Wizard has to make a super fast. He has to make a fast decision, and he's like, "I'm out of here." And he immediately takes off to try to figure out a way to come back and stop them. So this is the guy that gave Lady Lark her powers. He knows how to nullify them.
Well,
And
actually,
now,
that's not Wizard's first thought. Wizard's first thought is his family.
oh, his
That's what
family,
he checks.
yes.
Yeah,
Right.
he goes to
Sorry.
check on his family first.
Right,
And
right. Then, yeah.
so we get an insight into Wizard that his loyalty to the Squadron is he is very loyal to the Squadron, but his number one priority in life is his family, his wife and kids.
Right. Yeah, because you saw a screen here, and again, it could be fake, right? It's like I've got to go check. Actually, the way he does this is really fun, or makes sense. Instead, like, well, we'll
Very
get to in a
80s.
second. Okay, so they're all being put under the machine. That's what's going on here. We'll get to that. Okay, so this is great. He's like, well, instead of running, he goes, I'll just call them right here. No response. No response. No response.
And so what does he do next?
Please take me to where you keep your impound weapons. Now here's the thing. Literally, they've just spent, what is this, issue 5? Yeah. They've just spent 4 issues saying we got to get rid of all these guns and they're bad and all this stuff. And he immediately goes to get a gun. Now that is really cool. Very interesting.
But also, he is not interested in taking prisoners.
Right.
His plan is to run in and kill them.
Yeah.
That he's not interested in keeping them alive and he says that, tell me where my family is or I'll kill them. Like he has every intention of going there and shooting them dead.
Yeah, all of the heroics and all that are out the window. It's like, that's it. I'm going to go and shoot all these a-holes. And then, and again, you might be sitting there, and you said it too when we mentioned these guys. Like, yeah, these guys are bunches of pieces of crap, and you might be like, yeah, screw it, shoot these guys, like whatever, right? It's the why doesn't Batman just kill Joker, right? This is one of my pet peeves whenever they portray Batman as a killer, like they do in some of the later films where he'll kill someone, and then it's like, well, if he's willing to kill those henchmen in the warehouse or whatever, then why not just kill Joker immediately, right? Like, it's like, just go kill him right now. It's like, if you're good with killing those guys, then Joker should be the first one on your list to then kill. The point is that he doesn't kill anyone, right? So that's sort of the point of it. He doesn't need a gun. He doesn't need a gun, guys. These are the bullets he can throw. Yeah. He could throw them.
Well, he could. He's not thinking. He's not thinking at all. That's the thing, is he's in panic mode, because the thing he cares about most in the world is in mortal danger. So he's not thinking.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he's just like, shit, I'm gonna go get some guns and kill all these guys and be done with it. Like, I can't be like trying to figure out a plan or whatever.
No, he is not thinking past what happens next.
Right.
That's as far as he's thought, is the panel that you're about to scroll onto.
Right here.
That's
die, you bloodsuckers.
Die. He's not interested in getting them away painlessly or rescue. He just wants those motherfuckers dead. Pardon my language, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
Them dead.
I want him dead. Yeah. Okay, so he now they're too fast, right? You got your heroes.
Well, no, that the Institute aren't too fast.
No, the heroes.
The Squadron are.
Yeah, the Squadron, yeah. But at this point, the reader is thinking the Squadron has all been converted, right?
Yeah.
So spoilers, they're not. But you think that they are. Like, I actually wasn't really sure. Because, and I'll tell you why. Because this story took turns, both in the negative and the positive, like that kid reacting the way he did with his brother's death, the way that what's his face, like Spectrum came clean about the incident with Nuke. Like, the story was taking turns that I wasn't expecting, so I actually wasn't sure like exactly what was going on. Like, maybe they are bad guys, like what the hell, like, or how are they going to, I knew they're going to get out of it, because I know how comics work, but I didn't know. I was completely stunned. I'm like, there might be 2 issues of them being bad guys, right? Like, I don't know what's going to happen here. And I thought maybe they'd kill Wizard. Like, maybe they just kill him right now and then they get out of it later and then they feel bad for it. Like, I didn't know what was going on, because my expectations were subverted a few times already in the previous issues, right? And I read no spoilers. I don't know anything what's going on. I didn't read up. Like when you said, "Hey, why don't we do Squadron Supreme?" I'm like, "All right, why not?" That's how lucid I am, because I'm like, "Yeah, why not? Okay, sure. I don't know what this is." It's like, I think I heard of it. I'll do it. I'm pretty loose with comics. It's tougher for movies because you have to sit and watch. You got to watch for 2 hours. But as soon as I read I think I read 2 of these issues, like, oh yeah, shit, we got to do this. This is awesome. But anyway, okay, so they knock him down. Now the villains are all here, and they're like, "Yeah, we won. We're the best. We're the best villains ever." It's like, all right, fine.
For about 5 more seconds.
Yeah, it's like one panel. Yeah, man, we kicked the shit out of the squadron. We're the best. Yeah, okay, and you're dead. And they just beat the shit out of all of them. And you're like, wait, what the hell happened here? I thought we were on top. It's like, yeah, we weren't under any control. We weren't under control. So it turns out that the hero, as you guys have mentioned, Tom Thumb is the hero of this, at least the first 6 issues. He programmed. Now this is important. This is super important, because I even thought, oh, what's going on here? They're like, the machine doesn't affect the squadron members. And I was thinking, well, wait a minute. But it does affect them, doesn't it? Because it definitely affected Lady Lark. So that is explained.
It is.
That'll be in the next. Oh, we're on the next one. Okay. All right. So final issue of the night. What's our time? Oh, we're doing good for time. Good. We'll finish this one up. Okay. Hey gang, meet the new members of the squad. So now I already seen this. So this is the other thing, though. I bought the comics, and I didn't read spoilers, but I mean, because I bought them from eBay, you have to inspect it to make sure you got the right stuff and it's not messed up, right? Like, the guy says good condition, and then, pages are torn out. So I didn't read anything. I tried to just kind of look at the covers. I didn't actually flip through the comics because I didn't want to spoil them. So I saw the covers, though, obviously. So I was like, well, obviously these guys join or something. I was like, what the hell? I thought this is weird. But okay, it's like, okay, look, Andy, you'll see. So here's her family, and like she's now putting I guess like an invisibility spell, so that no one can see their headquarters. Is that kind of I guess that's what's happening.
It's like Wakanda,
right? Oh, we lost RR. Hold on, you're back. We lost you there.
Sorry, J-Man. I stupidly put my phone somewhere and it started to overheat, so I'm doing this on my phone. No, it's my fault entirely. But yeah, so that panel, the panel that you probably just come from, you see how incredibly effective, though, the Squadron Supreme are. I mean, they wipe out the Institute of Evil in about 10 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
Without Hyperion doing anything, right? So
yeah, just beat
they crush the Institute really quickly. I mean, they've got the advantage of surprise, but I think you see that that's the Grunwald there. I think is showing a bit of his love for the Justice League. That's how he sort of. This is the Justice League story he always wanted to tell, but never got the chance.
Yeah, and then like they just beat the crap out of them in 2 seconds. Now, the one thing though is that will be addressed is, firstly, why did the machine work on Lady Lark? But secondly, Whizzer. Because he came in guns blazing, it's like, we saw you at your worst, and at your worst, you just went and grabbed guns and tried to just kill everybody because you went temporarily like crazy there for a sec. Anyway, so their headquarters is they Wakanda it. They did, or remember, it was what was the guy's name? In The Shadow, the movie The Shadow, Shiwan Khan.
Yeah, Shiwan Khan. Yeah.
remember he made the whole building. He's like, made the whole thing invisible. That was kind of cool. I like that movie. Clobby didn't like that movie, but I liked it. So what are you gonna do?
I think it was destroyed in the editing. It was edited in a way that doesn't make sense. But the ideas are really good.
Oh yeah, it's kind of neat, and it's better than like everything in Phase 4 and whatever. Okay, so the families are here now, which is important. I love this handling of I love like Hyperion with Tom. He's always carrying him like a kid or something. Like he's got his under his arm. Like I think he even says, "Is there a part where he says, I wish he could hold me?" Like he would. I don't remember. I remember reading somewhere where he's like, "Why am I being held like a kid or something?" All right, so these guys have all been brainwashed. Obviously, they've all been B-modded to be good guys now, and they're producing these force field belts to protect people. And then this guy, this is awesome actually. Where this ape guy, I guess it's like a Gorilla Grodd or something.
Ape lady.
Ape lady. Sorry, ape lady. She's ape lady technically. Yeah. And she's like, "Oh yeah, thanks, but Tom Thumb is really the best, man. He's a genius. He's awesome." And Hyperion's like, "Oh, well, that's great." And look at him. He's like, "Oh, thanks." He's like, "Hey, how do you like that? You know, that's nice. You got it, big guy." It's like, "Yeah, cool." All right, so this is hilarious. He's like blocking out, like he's making like shade for them or something, like, but it's like dripping like tar or whatever. It's like, well, you guys are, it's cold, so or it's too hot, so I'm making it nice for you. It's like, all right. How goes it, Zarda? Yeah, it's going good. Yeah, sure, whatever. So they're doing their stuff, and he's kind of like, he goes, "Oh, do you want to go back to combat duty?" It's like, well, I'm not ready. It's like, okay, that's fine, whatever. You can see his face. He's like, yeah, no. There's an amphibian, and so again, now he's thinking back that I'm the only guy that was against this B-modding of everybody. This guy calls him Hyper. Some people call him Hype. Some people call him like High, I think, and he calls him Hyper. It's like Hyper. So Amphibian is like, I'm like a few hours away. I'm 2 hours away from to a body of water, and they're like, well, here, we'll give you this like lake here, and he's like, yeah, it's fake or whatever. He's like, well, you got outvoted. It's like, well, it's like, yeah, I keep getting outvoted. I love how outvoted just means, like, it doesn't mean you're right or wrong, it just means you're just outvoted. It's like, yeah, I've got a good point. Well, you're outvoted. It's like, oh, okay.
And can you go back up a little bit to where they're talking? Because I think that's an important scene, actually, where Amphibian's talking to Shape, and he's just kind of like, how, do you like what we did to you? Do you want to be here now? And the Shape just, of course, gives positive answers, but the question is that because that's what he feels or just what he's been made to feel?
Yes.
Although Shape's not the most reliable character.
Right.
Because Shape has, I mean, there's no nice way to say it. I'm not going to use the R word, but
right. He has a mental handicap.
He has an intellectual disability, right? So who knows how evil he was in the first place? He may have just been manipulated by the Institute of Evil in the first place. So Shape's not really the best indication of how the behavior modification has changed his personality. But it's legit that I hear. I mean, you can see why Amphibian has though.
And Shape is happy about it. He's like, sure, I'm with the team now, and I have all these friends, and I'm like happy now, and I wasn't happy before, And Amphibian's just like, like, damn it, like this isn't what I want to hear.
So actually, can I touch on that for a second?
Yeah,
that's a little bit of Grunwald's genius, right? Is because there actually are characters in the Institute of Evil who prefer being good. There are 3 of them at least. Shape's probably one, but there are 2 other characters who actually prefer being good. I won't say who
the thing is, you could make arguments where the behavior modification machine could be a positive thing, like say,
yeah, it made their life better.
Yeah, like say someone who wants to quit smoking, but they can't do it. And then you stick them in this thing, and then say, you will no longer smoke. And now they don't smoke anymore, and they might be happy and be glad, or stop drinking, or stop doing drugs, if they have an addiction. And then you might have criminals who are, I don't know, psychotic, who know they are, and are like, I don't want to be this way.
And I think
behavior modified.
Right. And I think that then I think the amphibian answer to that would be like, well, that's them asking you to do this for them.
Right.
Right. Not, and in one aspect saying, oh, I'm addicted to hamburgers or something, or I'm an alcoholic or something. Right. Like you could say, okay, get me off this. So it's like, make me just have one hamburger a week or something. I don't know. Right. Whatever.
I'm just imagining Wimpy from Popeye asking to have the machine used. But when they were first discussing it, I think it was Spectrum who said, well, maybe we could make it a voluntary thing.
They did, and then that got You're right. They did say that, and then that gets thrown out the window because then you got people. There's the warden, and that might be I'm not sure if that's in this issue where the guy's like, well, I don't want to do it. I don't want this done.
Right.
I think
that's coming up.
That's coming up. That's coming up. I think coming up here, right? So yeah, this was an important conversation because it's like, Shape, who is unreliable, he probably legitimately is happy and is glad that this happened because he probably didn't like being with the evil guys. So it's just, he should have asked, like Lamprey, or should have asked one of those other guys to see what he says. But anyway, all right. So that's that. Hyperion comes down here, and here's I think where they're having the problem. No, not yet. So she's got a new outfit. What was this girl's name again? Foxfire? Yeah, Foxfire. Yeah. She's got this new spiffy kind of outfit here. Everything going good? Yeah, it's all going. It's like she took off just a moment ago. So I forgot who's he looking for again? Lady Lark. Right. So here's where we see the problems. Lady Lark doesn't care about anything but Golden Archer because of the machine tampering. And it's sort of established that she's been, like shirking her responsibilities to come hang out with him. He's been injured because he was beat up and tortured last issue. He's just kind of healing up here. Recap for those who didn't read the last one. Yeah, I used that machine on her.
What's the spot quote? You'll find the having a thing not so pleasing as the wanting. It is not logical, but is often true.
Yeah. Oh yeah, where was that? That was.
I'm just thinking of that in relation to now he has all the attention from Lady Lark he wants.
Yeah,
but he feels so much remorse that he doesn't. He's too guilty about it. He's got what he wants, but now he can't enjoy it because of his guilt.
Yes.
Yeah.
So then Eagle shows up and he's like, what the shit's going on here? And then, they're not even, it's like, what do you mean you can't even call me Jim anymore? It's like, what the heck's going on? And then she's like, get out of here. And then she, screams him away and he's like, okay, so something's wrong. Like literally, obviously something's messed up. So he's pieced it together. Now we have this wicked character. What was this guy's name again? Master Menace. Yeah, this guy is awesome. Is there a figure of this guy? No, I don't think there's many figures of these characters.
There might be a custom one out there, maybe, but I don't think there's ever been one made by a actual company. I don't think.
No, I don't see one. But they do have Hyperion and stuff though. Like, and I think Hyperion figure. They do have Hyperion. Oh, he looks pretty good. Yeah, they do have a Marvel Legends Hyperion. That's pretty cool. I might have to get that. Oh, they got a 2-pack with him and Spectre.
Yeah, I believe like Hyperion, Power Princess, Spectrum Wizard, and Nighthawk have had figures made, I think.
I have Nighthawk from Defenders, like the quote unquote wrong, or 616 Nighthawk. I have that Marvel Legends. They do have another Marvel. They do have a different Nighthawk as well, though. Anyway, as soon as I read stuff like this, I gotta immediately go check out what figures are available. All right, so there's Master Menace. He's like, I've got to get that machine, that B-mod machine, and figure out how it works. And then, can you tell us about the decriminalization program? So now Tom is getting a bit more attention. Like they're talking directly to him. He's giving interviews and stuff. And then it's like, you got this guy's awesome. It's like, It's like he has these robots. And here's your lower budget, I guess, like supervillains. They've got the mind wiped. I know that. He just tells her, I know that. I feel like he should have a better word bubble. Like it should be like scraggly or something. It's like, I tell you what, get us out of here. So he like transports them. And she's like, why don't you come with us?
What Tom says, though, is really ominous. When a citizen chooses to commit a crime, he forfeits the right to choose if he wants reforming or not.
All right.
You know? And like that's where Blue Eagle's at. But that's where you see Tom has this really, I don't want to say conservative, I'm just going to say this particular view of law and order. That Tom's view is very black and white as well.
Yeah, so it's like it's the most humane way, but you're still taking away the free choice or whatever. So it's like saying, yeah, you broke the law, so here's what's going to happen to your mind. All right, so then he teleports these guys out of here, which doesn't matter. Okay, how many you got? Okay, I like we got to keep the so 3 empty. So again, recap here. And I think they're trying to make more of the B mod machines, right? Now we have something disturbing to report. Now this is where I think they say that this warden here. So this is one of the ward. So they've been going to the prisons and they've been letting the prisoners get these modifications done. But this warden is saying no, and it's actually funny because they start to talk about the job opportunities. They're like, if everyone's reformed, all of these prison employees and the warden and all that aren't going to have any jobs. So they actually start talking about, well, are we going to find jobs for people who are now out of work, because they used to manufacture weapons or ammunition or they were in prisons and stuff. That was really cool. Like to think, that's a lot of thinking. It's like, yeah, well, what if these guys aren't employed now? Like now what am I going to do? Right.
Yeah. Well, Groovemold also gets into that the squadron has a job creation program for those people who do the criminals who do accept behavior modification. They have to create jobs for them. And I think there's a couple of times a little bit ambiguous about how successful they are in finding enough jobs to keep that going. Because that would be a massive challenge.
Oh, yeah. Like if all the prisoners are now getting jobs, like plus the people, if you're shutting down every prison and every ammunitions like factory and whatever, I mean, like now you have massive amounts of people that need to be employed. Okay. Anyway, he's like, no, I'm not going along with it. So now we have the big conversation here. This is a big one. So it's like, well, the guy doesn't.
Yeah.
So,
sorry, go ahead, right? Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say the guy doesn't want to do it. Well, we'll let him know about the benefits. And the guy's like, okay. And now Amphibian's like, this is important. What if he still doesn't come around? Right? Now what? Yeah. No, okay, I understand the benefits, but I don't want it done. Now what? Now what do you do?
This meeting is the bulk of the issue. This one meeting. And this meeting is the turning point of the whole series. Yeah. I think. Because this meeting gets intense.
It does. And Amphibian is awesome in here too. Okay, I vote. So now they have to talk about, so talk about the warden. Got to talk about the people that don't want to do it. But now we've got to talk about these extra villains. They brainwashed them and they said, well, should we make them part? We've lost a few members. We need to replace them and we need more help. So, do we make these villains full-fledged Squadron Supreme members? Yes or no? And then Lady Lark is like, well, I forgot the guy's name. What's the guy's name that gave her the powers?
Dr. Decibel.
Decibel. I don't want Dr. Decibel in here because he, messed with me. Yeah, here he is. I object. I don't mind the others, but I object. But again, she's like, well, I object to that one guy because he hurt me. But what about the others who have hurt other people, right? And some of them still have a few rough edges. So now we're going, well, it's wrong to exploit them any more than we already have. Yeah, like they're not. Of course, if you say you have to join, they're like, oh, okay. Like it's not. They're going to say no. I don't want to join.
What did he say? We've taken away their ability to ever say no to us.
Yes. Yeah, they can't say no. and I love that there's a vote, but you're not asking the guys who you're forcing to join to vote. Like, you're not saying, okay, Institute of Good, I guess now, Institute of Good, come in here.
Right.
Who wants to join, right? Like, they're not even asking them.
No. And then there's the vote.
Yeah, I love it. I love the vote. It's like, well, just vote. Okay, well, I don't get it. Oh, it's a big vote. And then, and I think they all say yes, right? Do they all say because they become?
It's 4 and.
Oh, it's split.
Well, it's split, and that's the thing.
Split.
The votes they change a lot in this issue, because the Hyperion asked for the Squadron's vote, 4 against, 4 in favor, and he breaks the tie.
He breaks the tie, and I think what did he say? I say we induct them all, but break them into field duty slowly. That's it. That's what it was.
And then there's new business. Whoa.
Oh, well, this new business won't have any impact on anything at all. It'll just be completely. I think the new business is just deciding whether to put a vending machine in the office.
Coke or Pepsi.
Coke or Pepsi. That's what it. It's like, okay, I accuse. So Blue Eagle says, I accuse Golden Archer of using the B mod machine on Lady Lark to make him love him. And the mic drops. Boosh, like that. If this was a TV series, that would be the end of that episode. You'd be like, oh shit. And then you'd be like, I got to tune in next week to see what the hell happens on this one. So it's like, all right, well, that's a big problem. But now we finally figure out why the machines don't work on the Squadron. So turns out that Tom knew that the machine was used on someone, and that's why he went and reprogrammed them with the brain patterns of the Squadron so that it could not work on the Squadron, but that one did go through. So that explains the full thing. Now, Tom didn't say anything, though. And it's like, you never mentioned this, Tom. Why had you never mentioned this? I didn't want to betray anyone. So
there you go.
Again, like
loyalty to the group. Loyalty to the group over loyalty to what's right.
Right. So I do like that he just admits it. I'm guilty. That's it. I'm guilty. I'm sorry. And then the reactions, oh my God, I can't believe it. You can see their faces like, oh my God, he's pissed. Like, she's like distraught. He's like, what? Like, shocked. She's just like, oh, disappointed. Great facial expressions here. He's like, yep, I did it. What are we going to do? So they remove him from the thing, and now they're going to talk about him. And she still loves him. The problem is that she loves him, and she's going to stand by him no matter what, because that's what she was told to.
Yeah, she has no choice. She has no choice.
Yeah.
She has to love him, no matter what he does.
She can't be unprogrammed.
They discussed that. So the gist of it is that because you're already toyed with, this is crazy. This is crazy. Okay, we could have done like a 2-hour stream just on this one, on this book,
on this page,
yeah. So we can't undo it because we've already messed with her. So you can't. And then someone's like, "Can you make a machine to undo the other machine?" To undo the other machine. And like, okay. And it's like, no, we can't do all this. Like, what are you talking about? And then
I love how Power Princess is like, okay, well, what we should do is use the machine on him and program him so he'll never do this again.
Right.
It's like, geez, lady, come on. Don't you get it?
Okay. Yeah, that is awesome. It's like, so what are we going to do with this guy? Well, he betrayed a fellow Squadron member. He's out. Like, I don't, and again, black and white. Look, you betrayed us. You're done. Well, that's it. Well, maybe we could use the machine on him. It's like, huh? And then I say we do nothing. He's repentant. That's it. it's like, okay, well, she's saying Arcana's like, well, he violated her. It's the mind, okay, but he didn't violate her body, but he violated her mind. And he actually did violate her body because I'm sure they've had fun after that was done, right? So I can't stand it. And then this guy's the best. Amphibian best. This right here is the damn best.
Yeah.
In all 6 issues, this is like, you're hypocrites, all of you. You supported the building of the machine. You supported its use. Now you're going to quibble about how it's used, who it's used on. You handed the archer a loaded gun, and now you're shirking the responsibility of him using it. What a joke. Well, let's put it to the vote here. I love it. Well, that's all great, but, we can vote. It's like this big thing. It's like, all right, well, whatever. We'll just vote. But like, all right, fine. It's like, I love how Hyperion is just like, yeah, let's just vote. Like, whatever. So no discipline. So no discipline. So that's Amphibian, right?
Yeah.
Spectrum, and that's Wizard. Yeah, so Wizard, Amphibian, Spectrum. Those in favor of behavior modifying that guy is just Princess. And expulsion from the group. That's this is Eagle, this is Arcana, right? And this is Tom. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so she's out. So it's 3 and 3. Tied between the two extremes. So I'm the deciding vote, and he's like, yeah, we gotta expel him. Now these two guys are not seeing eye to eye. It's like satisfied loudmouth. It's like, I mean, what are you talking about? Like, the guy used the machine, right? Like, and then this forces you to pick, because you're like, well, what would I do? Because the deed's been done. Like,
and it's interesting to look at some of the choices, because Amphibian is like, no, we shouldn't punish him, even though he's the one opposed to using the machine in the first place, because from his point of view, what Archer did isn't really any different than what they've been doing all along. And yet you've got Tom, who created the machine and covered up, deliberately, knowingly covered up that what Archer did, saying, oh no, he should be voted out. And for the most part, Tom has been very sympathetic throughout this thing, but here he really is kind of a hypocrite, because he's like, yeah, we should kick him out for doing that, even though I covered for him, and I hit it. I shouldn't be kicked out, though.
Yeah, that's a damn good point. I know. No, this is interesting. Yeah, we could have done like 2 hours just on this comic, because, like, look at it's like each person. Now, Wizard, okay, and Princess, she's like just losing herself. It's here. It's like, oh well, let's just use it on him now. It's like, oh, it's like, no, we're not supposed to be using.
Hang
this.
on, though. Mm-hmm. Her Power Princess's point of view through this whole series is shaped by the fact that the Utopia program originally was her idea. It comes from the society that she was part of. So she's all about the idea of the greater good. If it serves the greater good of the community, it's okay. Right? That's why she's all right with behavior modifying Archer. I agree with you on why Amphibian isn't, though. But it's like, well, any use of the machine is wrong, so we're not going to use it.
Right.
But I mean, Tom's hypocrisy is exposed. And of course, Blue Eagle, despite his black and white view, he's also influenced by this is a vendetta.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, he's emotionally involved. You're right.
Yeah. And I didn't see that when I read this the first time. And on reflection you see it more. And I can't say anything else about Blue Eagle, Lady Lark, and Archer without spoiling it, so I will say nothing else. So Classic Comics is probably thinking of what I'm thinking of at the moment.
All right, so they're like, yeah, sorry, buddy, you're done. And then Amphibian's gonna take care of business and destroy all this crap. He just goes crazy and destroys it all. And he's like, I want you to punch up the plans for the behavior modification machine for me, and he erased them. It's like, but whatever. And he's like, literally goes, what? You're supposed to do exactly what I tell you, right? So just do it. Oh, okay.
Right. Yeah.
So he uses that again. He uses that for his own thing. And he's like,
that is really a cutting line where she's like, why would I do that? And he's like, because I'm a member of the squadron and you're programmed to obey us, so you have no choice. Now do it.
Right. And very well. So that means they are programmed because there's no free will. Like she doesn't say, "Oh, let me go talk to Tom about that because he's kind of my boss." It's like, no, just do it. Oh, okay. Goes back in the water, and then
it's not just that they're programmed not to be criminals, but they're also programmed to obey the squadron and do whatever they're told.
Right, exactly. And then Nighthawk's there and like dun da da. There you go. That is
You're
it.
right. You're right, Jay. We could have done a 2-hour stream on issue 6 alone. And you got to think: are there any fight scenes in issue 6?
No, I don't think there's any fighting.
I don't think there are. I think issue 6 is pretty much all the philosophical debate. And again, Grunwald doesn't tell you which one is the right one. He presents a bunch of different ideas about what should happen to the B-mod program and then what should happen to the Archer, and lets you decide, like, what do you think, right? And that's just a nuance that's lost in modern comic book writing. And
it's I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was done. You go.
Well, I was going to say it's so underrated because this is very similar to Watchmen, because at the end of Watchmen, it's kind of the same thing. Was Ozymandias right to do what he did? Was he wrong? Because you can argue he saved the world, but he also murdered millions of people. And they kind of, again, more kind of leaves you to kind of make your own judgment on that.
I did a lot of reading of reviews of Squadron Supreme in the build-up. I did a lot of notes. Did a lot of reading of reviews. And one thing you'll find a theme in the reviews is comparison with Watchmen, because this predates Watchmen. This is a year before Watchmen came out. And you'll see a lot of people saying, well, Squadron Supreme is just a superhero story. It's a superhero story that's a bit deeper, but it's still just a superhero story. Watchmen is something elevated beyond the genre. And I think they've missed the point. And the point, I think, is this, that Watchmen is psychology. It is an exploration of some moral issues, but mostly of the psychology of the characters and an insight into who they are, what makes them tick, their personality, and human nature. Squadron Supreme is philosophy. It is a debate about the use of power, the use, what is right, how far does the greater good go? The use of free will versus safety, disarmament. It's got all these philosophical issues that Watchmen doesn't address. And at the same time, I think that Grunwald, because Watchmen is a deconstruction of superheroes, right? It's an anti-superhero book. Whereas Grunwald purposefully kept Squadron Supreme a superhero story. That it honors the JLA. It really does. Despite some of the things you see them doing, it still treats them as heroic characters, making the best sense of this chaotic world they're having to deal with, right? And so that's where I see it. I think people have missed out and underrated this book, not seeing it for what it is. Because the characters of Watchmen are more complicated and deeper. But the philosophical debates, I would say, and the perspectives presented in Squadron Supreme are at least as good, I would say. That's my take.
Right. I don't know. Like, I would put this up there with Watchmen. I really like this a lot. I've only read the first 6. I'll finish it up, and then we'll do it. We're gonna end the stream in a minute or two because I gotta go.
Sure, of course.
So we'll definitely continue this same time next week with the final 6. And I don't want to say I like this better than Watchmen, but I'm pretty damn close. Like, because I actually like Watchmen. When I first read Watchmen, I found it to be. I read it. I was like, when it first came out, I thought, "What the hell is this? This just looks like it's not for me." And then I read it. I had the original issues, and I read it, and I thought, "Wow, this is actually pretty cool." But I did not understand a lot of it, and I thought the squid was stupid. And I'm like, "Okay, this is just weird." And then it took me like 3 readings, and for me to age, I had to age into that comic. This is at an this comic is at an advantage because I'm already the age I am, and I've already read 4 million comics when I'm reading this. So this is the experienced J-Man reading this now, and I'm like, holy shit, this is awesome. So it's unfair for me to say what do I like better versus like Watchmen that I've read 3 or 4 times now, maybe 5 times now, and read it throughout ages where I learned, about things as I read it, versus now I'm a seasoned, like when I first saw 2001: A Space Odyssey, I thought it was boring and stupid. And now it's my second favorite movie. And I read the books, and and I watched it again. I'm like, oh my god, I understand what's going on now. And then look at the deeper meanings and all that. So it's tough. Whatever those reviews were saying, I disagree. This thing is awesome.
Yeah,
I like that. It's go ahead, Classic.
I'll take this over Watchmen any day of the week.
I'm close, dude. I'm very close to saying that. I can't say because I haven't finished it, so that would be unfair to say that. But I mean, I don't know what to tell you. If you're telling me it's even getting even better for next week, I mean, this is just going to be insane. Like, I can't even imagine what's going to happen. Like, I could have sat there and read all 12 issues and just been like, that's it. But had I done that, I wouldn't have any other streams because I had to read all the other comics for the stream. So I don't know. All right. Oh, Skeptic, you stayed till the end, buddy. Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Thanks, Skeptic.
Read it, guys. You got to read it. I'm going to get my buddies to read it. Steve hasn't read it. Steve usually will wait until I tell him what to read. Like, Steve won't read any comic unless I tell him, like, no matter what, like even anything, like anything at all. Like he just sits around and then I tell him. So he's living the best life of ever. He gets the benefit of me reading a bunch of horse shit, and then I just filter everything. He's like, "Oh, what's a Squadron Supreme?" I was like, "Let me finish it and I'll tell you." This is like, I messaged him. I think I messaged him the other day. I was like, whenever I finished issue 6, I was like, "Okay," I said, "I think you're gonna need to read Squadron." And my other buddy's like, "Should I read it?" I was like, "Yeah, I think you're gonna have to read this one." I'm like, "All right, good, I'll read it." So, and Sean reads anything. So Sean and I are the kind of the scapegoats. It's like nobody reads anything without asking us first.
Has Sean read this?
Sean has it. Yeah, he has it. He's got the same one you have.
What he thinks about this?
Yeah, he's got the same collection as you have.
J-Man, did you get there's a crossover with Captain America?
No, don't have it.
What issue? Okay, because in the TPB, the next issue is the crossover, I believe. It is Captain America. I just remember the giant typewriter. Captain America 314 from February, I guess, 1986.
Let's see. Captain America 314. Okay. We can glance at it. We can just kind of do a quick glance through it.
Yeah, sure.
For next week.
It doesn't affect the story immensely.
I might own that issue. Let me see if I own that issue.
I don't know. I mean, there's details about it that are kind of helpful. I don't know.
What issue? 314. I have it.
314.
I believe I have 314. I started collecting Captain America at 298. And then 300 was the Red Skull to the Death cover where they're punching the crap out of each other. I started getting Captain America with 298 or something like that. And then I'm only missing a few. Like I'm missing 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I'm missing 15 issues from 300 to 400. So that was where I started Captain America. I missed a few here and there. And then that's all the stuff that was in that Falcon. That's John Walker and all of those things, and that Flag Smasher guy and whatever. And then that show was piss. But anyways, okay. Well, that's it. We're going to end up for now. So we will finish this up. Where's my icon? There's my part 2 icon. We'll finish that up. And do you think that's enough I mean, it's up to you guys. Like, I have to finish by 10 p.m. because I always have stuff early in the morning, so I have to finish before 10. So do you want to start a bit early? Like, do you want to start at like 6:30 for next time, or do you think the start time's okay?
I mean, as far as covering the Captain America, I mean, I'm fine with it, but I don't think it's necessary because.
Okay, so we won't go through that one. We've got the 6 issues. Do you think so? 7 o'clock still works for you guys?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
Thanks for having me on, J-Man, because it's been really great to express. So I have a lot of passion for this book, and it's been great to express that and share with people who have an understanding of comics and storytelling and can appreciate, this amazing piece of work.
Thanks for recommending it. And I've been wanting to do some kind of members thing. And I actually kind of like what we did here, which is instead of just having let's just chill. I like this idea that, like someone picks something and says, hey, why don't we, look at this or whatever. And it actually kind of gave me an excuse, because I've been using these streams as an excuse to talk about stuff that I've wanted to talk about. Like, I mean, that's the point of like YouTube for me. The point of YouTube for me is, hey, I liked all this crap. Why don't I talk about it and have people in the chat who also like this stuff, and we all just talk about it together, versus like, I want to just, bitch about stuff. That's why I didn't do anything on that garbage Batman cartoon and whatever that,
fair play.
So I actually like this idea better, like where it's like, oh, someone's like, hey, why don't we, let's do Squadron. And because comics are easy, like, I mean, let's face the facts, we can get them easy. Like, we know how to get them. Like, you go to this website and I can read anything now, right? It's tougher with movies because people will message me saying, oh, you should watch this. And it's like, yeah. And then I got to either buy the movie or find it on streaming or try to, like find a site or something. And it's tougher that way. Like, but comics is easy. Like you said, Squadron Supreme. Okay. Typed it in. Oh, there it is. Like, oh, there you go. Could do it right now. So anyways, Classic, what do you got going on your channel? And then I put a link up in the chat for everybody.
Thank you for that. I'm actually kind of pretty busy right now and not doing a lot for the next week or so. After this coming week, I'll have some free time. I'm working on a new, I don't know if you know, but I put out an AI trailer of Thundar, the Barbarian, and it's done really well for me. And
I'm gonna look that up.
I'm working on a follow-up to that, but that's probably going to be a couple of weeks. And I also have an idea for a video. Again, it's probably going to be a little while, but a video where I'm maybe a series of them, where I'll basically take a DC hero or say a superhero, like say a DC or Marvel hero, and then present what I think would be the best 5 villains from the other company, like the 5 best Marvel villains for Batman.
Right.
That's probably the first one I'm going to do.
Awesome. I'm looking at your thing. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch this one through. Oh, this is wicked. Hey, you put Canon. Oh, buddy, you put Canon. Yes. I should have worn my Canon shirt today.
Yeah. It's the idea is kind of that it's like a movie that was made in the 80s, but was never released.
Right. Did you ever see Turbo Kid?
Turbo Kid. No.
Oh, dude, you got to watch Turbo Kid. Well, I'm gonna tell you really quickly about it once we end up. So guys, stay on for a second. All right. Well, thanks to everybody in the chat who stayed with us till the end here, and thanks for checking this out. And thanks to both you guys for joining me. This is a lot of fun, and we're definitely gonna do that. We're gonna do it next week and finish this off. I'm super excited to read all these. I might even read it tonight if I can. I have a feeling like I'll just be up all night reading these, but I'm super excited to go through these. So thanks for coming on and suggesting this. All right. Well,
thanks for having us.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Thanks a lot, mate.
All right, take it easy.
Thanks, everyone.
Hey, friends, you've just been listening to J-Man, and he is the smartest person who ever lived. So make sure you like and subscribe.